Chapter 14-15 The counterattack starts. It'll be in your care, Wang Wei nodded politely. We need to find a date for your patriarch ceremony, Wang Si added. I just returned, so there is no need to be talking about the transfer of power, Wang Wei said. No, these are the rules, Wang Si insisted. The patriarch position will be beneficial to your Paragon Tribulation, and all your achievements or accomplishments will further nourish the Wang clan's luck and destiny. In that case, wait until I'm about to pass the Tribulation. As you wish, Wang Si nodded. One last thing, you can choose a few of the human fiend gods to serve you. Most of them worshipped you and would love to work for you again. I will, Wang Wei nodded. All the human fiend gods originated from the lower dimension and knew Wang Wei, so it might be a good idea to transfer them to his, transcending fate mountain, to serve under him. Let's continue, Sect Master Yu Kai continued. This is Matriarch Li Yang and Patriarch Yen Di. Li Yang was a beautiful woman with extraordinary red lips and naturally charming eyes. Yen Di was an emo man, his hair, clothes, eyes, and jewelry were all black, and even his aura was dark and depressing. Wang Wei bowed to them, and Li Yang immediately asked, when is the Eternal from our clan ascending? We understand their unique situation, but could you elaborate in more detail? No problem, Wang Wei said before explaining Li Jun and Yen Liling's situation to them. So, it will take a while, Li Yang said in disappointment. The sect may have too many Eternals to count, but it was different for Eternals from the lower dimension. Destiny is in the lower dimension, meaning it was easier to give birth to great talents. From the information Li Yang and Yen Di have gathered, Li Jun and Yen Liling have already shown signs of being peak seeds, hence their excitement for their possible rise. Thank you for preserving the unity between our clans, Matriarch Li Yang said to Wang Wei. She understood the overwhelming power he had in the lower dimension, and if he wanted, he could have turned the lower dimension sect into the puppet of the Wang clan. Wang Wei nodded to her, and Yu Kai introduced the other families. This is Patriarch Long, Matriarch Xia, Patriarch Tang, Matriarch Su, Patriarch Yin, and Patriarch Zhou. The 6 of them stood before Wang Wei and bowed politely. He returned the salute before looking at Matriarch Xia, a small woman with green clothes and intense eyes. If I remember correctly, the Supreme Elder Shadow Ruler took the name Xia. He is our ancestor, she replied succinctly. Wang Wei nodded and did not ask any more. Yu Kai took over the conversation again. Those are the elders taking care of different aspects of the sect. Let's start with the disciplinary hall elder. For the next hour, Wang Wei met all the upper echelons and had a basic understanding of the upper dimension sect's operation and rules. Finally, he signaled that only the Grand Elder and Sect Master stayed for an important meeting. First thing first, I need you guys to perfectly replicate this thing before its owner comes asking for it, Wang Wei said, sitting cross-legged with a small golden tablet floating above his palm. The tablet released an intense Dao rhyme, forcing Yu Kai and Yen Shui to squint. Is that the Skill Dao Association's Dao Path tablet? Elder Yen Shui asked. That's right, Wang Wei nodded. He split all the resources from the Northern Chu dynasty with Monk after killing Shu Ren, and this tablet was one of the prizes they shared. Elder Yen Shui played with the tablet in her hands. We currently have only one person who can refine Tier 12 products while still in Tier 11, but he's a pill refiner. The best we can do is a false product. The Overlord's destiny has returned, so it won't be long before the association asks for their treasure back, Yu Kai stated. In that case, we need to delay for as long as possible so we can buy time to copy it, Wang Wei decided. In the meantime, we can start the preparation. That's not an issue, Yu Kai nodded. I promised the barbarian race they could copy our copies, don't forget that, Wang Wei added. One of the primary reasons this thing was in his hands, even though Monk was the one who killed Shu Ren, is that the barbarian race could not bear the pressure from the Skill Dao Association, but the Dao Opening Sect could. If you say so, Yu Kai nodded. The primal seed has a lot of powers in the sect, especially regarding the utilization of resources. Besides a few things that may require the ancestors to sign up, there are almost no limits to their resources. Of course, the criteria needed to get this position are also insane. Throughout the sect's history, there have only been 3 prior primal seeds, and only one, Ancient Desolate, lived to that name. About the second matter, Wang Wei continued. I need to comprehend something, but it is extremely challenging and will take me too long on my own. Is there a way for me to comprehend it in less than a yuan epoch? Elder Yan Shui frowned. He knew how talented this young man was, and he was saying someone of his caliber was about to comprehend something challenging. What level is such a thing? She suddenly thought of something, and a look of realization flashed in her eyes. You could use the experience pill, which would allow you to experience the point of view of whoever created whatever you wish to comprehend, even if it was heaven and earth, Elder Yan Shui suggested. No, he can't, Yu Kai said. Don't you remember? We used the last experience pill trying to summon the mortalhood trial. Oh, that's right, Elder Yan Shui nodded before frowning as she could not think of another suggestion. The only option left is the mind dilation pill, but... Yu Kai said. The side effects are too severe, Elder Yan Shui disagreed. No, let's do it, Wang Wei said. He knew of the mind dilation pill, a Paragon-ranked pill that can dilute time between the mind and the outside. In some extreme cases, 1 second inside a person's mind might equal 10,000 yuan epochs outside. However, the faster the time dilation, the greater the burden on the soul. Oh right, I forgot you already have a Paragon soul, Yan Shui nodded. Regardless, you should give him some soul protection pills. No problem, Yu Kai said as he stood up. Anything else? No, that's it for now. Good. Although he didn't have to, Yu Kai went to gather the resources personally. I know you'll be busy, but I'll leave you on your own device. Don't hesitate to call me if you need something, Elder Yan Shui uttered before also leaving. What do you think? Wang Wei asked the empty room. Swish. Red Mask appeared before him, kneeling on one knee. The Wang, Li, and Yen clan are excited for your return, but the other 6, not so much. Wang Wei nodded before motioning her to continue. Your presence will further consolidate the 3 main clans' power, especially if you can become the 5th primal/ancestor, Red Mask explained. Most of the 6 clans appeared neutral of your presence, except for the Su and Zhou clan. Their leaders tried to hide their emotions, but I could still detect it. Wang Wei nodded as he looked at his token. The fact that they already had a status for him showed they had prepared long ago, most likely due to Ancestor Yan Hai's orders. Anything else? The Great Elder and Matriarch Xia detected my presence. Oh. Wang Wei was not surprised Elder Yan Shui discovered her since he detected her essence was once that of a paragon, but it was something else from Matriarch Xia. She's probably in the shadow business like myself, Red Mask continued. And she's exceptional at her job. Is that so? Wang Wei muttered. During my retreat, I need you to establish yourself in the sect. Use the opportunity that these clans do not have the protection of their powerful ancestors to infiltrate their ranks. I want to be able to know what kind of underwear their patriarch is wearing. Do you understand? No problem, but do I have a bottom line? Play by the rules as long as they do the same, Wang Wei instructed. I want to be informed, not break the foundation and unity of the sect. He needed to start preparing for the future, and that's one of the reasons he returned to the sect now. The 7 Moon era was gone, leaving only 7 Cauldron and Time Eater. 7 Cauldron is a walking skeleton, as her body will definitely collapse once she is no longer a vessel, leaving Time Eater as the last remnants of the previous era. Wang Wei's plan might involve Time Eater's death, meaning he was also living on borrowed time. Now was the time to return to the sect and prepare for the future. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14-16 Asking Grand Dao. After receiving the resources, the first thing Wang Wei did was to reinstall the formation on the Transcending Fate Mountain. Although he trusted the sect, it was not to this level. Once that was done, he released Wang Qi and the others and provided them with the proper identity to allow them access to certain things in the sect. Only after dealing with these mundane tasks did Wang Wei finally enter his retreat. Let's get this over with, Wang Wei muttered. His first task was not to understand the lock. Instead, he used his ability acquired for his achievement as an immeasurable emperor, which allowed him to communicate with Grand Tao. Wang Wei's spirit left his body before founding himself in this infinitely white space with one towering eyeball glancing at him. He immediately felt an immense pressure on his soul. Regular people cannot directly face Grand Tao's presence without any repercussions. What is your request? Cold and indifferent words entered Wang Wei's mind. There was no source of sound or any fluctuation. These words just appeared in his mind as if they were a natural part of his memories. Wang Wei frowned before returning to normal. My request is simple. I need a karma-free cultivation technique that allows me to see my existence blueprint. The technique cannot be directly implanted in my mind nor use an information talisman. It must be written in books in the common Tao language of the chaos universe, and it has to be a technique that my current self can cultivate. Wang Wei has been thinking about his fate seed status for a while and concluded instead of asking Grand Tao for help, it would be better to rely on himself. So, he asked for a way to detect his status as a fate seed so he could devise a way to erase it himself. Grand Tao looked at him briefly before disappearing, leaving a world of books. Wang Wei checked, and the number of books could fill the entire observable universe. That's how many they were. He then immediately checked the content. Everything is labeled accordingly, Wang Wei commented. He could have been more specific but left many loopholes just to see whether Grand Tao would play with his request, and based on how it reacted, Wang Wei could deduce how trustworthy this request was. So far, there doesn't seem to be any problem, Wang Wei muttered. He will have his wife and many other people check this technique, but there doesn't seem to be an issue as of now. He put the books away before continuing his retreat. He did not hesitate to take the mind dilation pill and the other soul nourishment pills. He stretched his mind dilation to the limit, achieving a level of 1 second outside equal to 10,000 yuan epochs in his mind. Then, he started comprehending the essence of the lock. Over the years, he tried to learn it and had some success, but the nature of the information inside reached the level of transcendence, meaning it required a lot of talent and time to understand truly. Time felt endless, and if not for the fact he was focusing on a task, Wang Wei had a feeling he might have gone mad after experiencing so long in such a short period. It did not help that his soul started hurting after 50 years had passed on the outside. Regardless of the pain he was experiencing, Wang Wei pushed himself to understand the nature of the lock and found a way to break it. Once that was done, he took some time to plan out his next moves before finally focusing on Grand Tao's technique. Wang Wei ensured he knew this technique from front to back. In fact, during his long cultivation journey, he has never spent so much time on one method. The amount of time he spent understanding that thing was longer than he had been cultivating up until now. Everything makes up our blueprint, Wang Wei thought as he looked up at the white space with dots, lines, and shapes. Our memories, actions, achievements, past life, luck, and even information we absorb from the environment will affect our existence, in one way or another. The blueprint has elevated Wang Wei's understanding of existence to a higher level. His move, and he soon found what he wanted, the part of his existence influenced by fate. Wang Wei had to comb through much information and even experimented on himself before he found a few line groups that did not belong. I should have done this sooner, Wang Wei thought as he had just learned the higher his cultivation realm, the harder it is to remove the influence of these things from his life. Moreover, will it be that easy to remove this seed title? I doubt it. He shook his head, not focusing on the difficulty of the task. Now that he had identified the problem, it was time to solve it. So, Wang Wei did not immediately end this retreat but spent a little more time redefining his plan before he finally left his exit. The first thing he did was to swallow a few pills to heal and soothe his soul. The effects were immediate, but Wang Wei soon noticed his soul was growing. The constant pressure from this pill and the act of healing actually increased his soul's quality and quantity. He reacted swiftly by sealing the growth of his soul, ensuring he could use it for later. That was closed, Wang Wei muttered. He was still living under the lock's effect, so this growth could have cost him his life. While healing, Wang Wei summoned Red Mask. I know only 300 years have passed, but how are things proceeding? Better than I expected, Red Mask responded. The Xia clan has been helping us integrate, they have even handed us countless resources. Oh. They are responsible for the entire sect's spy network, Red Mask added. So, their help has been more than valuable, but I just wonder why they are doing it. It's probably an order from Shadow Ruler, Wang Wei responded. Qiyuan was already preparing to hand over the reign, so it made sense for the others to do the same. Did you discover why these two families are hostile to me? The Zhou clan had a legacy disciple that wanted the primal seed position, Red Mask explained. Sadly, he embarrassed himself during the seed trial. They are not happy you received the position without passing the trial. If that's their only problem, they will be easy to pacify, Wang Wei nodded. Qiyuan has already hinted to him that the unity of the sect must be preserved to ensure their prosperity in the upcoming transcendent era, so Wang Wei's goal is to make these families submit willingly under his command. What's the Su clan's problem? Their issue stems from the 12 Fiend God Revolution body, Red Mask replied. They are dissatisfied that only the 3 main clans have a human fiend god bloodline. Wang Wei squinted his eyes. In fact, all the other clans and yokai from the sectarian faction are also dissatisfied. However, they understood this issue required all the ancestors to decide, so they kept quiet. The Su matriarch is a hothead, so she did not keep quiet and complain non-stop about this issue. I can't believe I've been causing trouble before even ascending, Wang Wei chuckled. Lord, what are you going to do? The other clan's approach is right, this is a matter that needs the ancestors' authority, Wang Wei replied. He had no problem with the technique being spread. Still, there needed to be rules and restrictions to prevent other people from stealing his idea and to prevent the sect from turning into a bloodline faction that relied entirely on their blood for progress. His current strength and prestige were insufficient to make these rules, so he had to wait for the ancestors' return and discuss this issue. What should we do about these families? Red Mask asked. Leave the Su clan alone since they are only talking, Wang Wei replied. As for the Zhou clan? It'll take the test in a while to shut them up. As you wish, Red Mask nodded. Do you have any other instructions? No, you can continue your work. Wang Wei dismissed her before contacting Sect Master Yu Kai and Great Elder Yan Shui. You lasted 300 years, such willpower, Yu Kai said as he shook his head to show his envy. The world seems peaceful and quiet now, but all know this is just the surface, Wang Wei replied. What can we do for you? Yan Shui asked. The elderly woman understood they were now at a tipping point in history and their actions would have severe consequences. I need you to do 3 things for me, Wang Wei said. The first of which is simple, I only want to take the primal seed trial. Yu Kai and Yan Shui looked at each other and understood, so they nodded without saying another word. The second thing is about. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14-17 The Path to Paragon. For the second request, I need you guys to summon the Mortalhood trial, Wang Wei stated. The world is locked, so how are we supposed to do that? Yu Kai asked with a frown. For a moment, he thought Wang Wei was purposely asking them to do something impossible. You don't need to summon it to our world but to our branch of the River of Time, Wang Wei explained. The lock does not influence that place, and currently, his power is at an all-time weakness, making this the perfect time. For his plan to succeed, he needs to become a paragon, and this trial is the only way he could think that would allow him to increase his cultivation realm in the current state of the Eternal Ascension world. That approach might work, Great Elder Yan Shui said. We might need to tweak the ceremony a little, but it's doable. The Mortalhood trial will not only allow people to become paragon, but it could also be the only way for people like her to return to their former peak. Let's not get too excited too quickly, Yu Kai added. The ceremony requires the luck of most of the world's geniuses and heaven chosens, meaning we will need the cooperation of the other overlords and top paragon lineages to proceed. The desire for these people to increase their strength is as high as us, so there should be no problem with the suggestion, Yan Shui stated. I know this, but I just want to reiterate that the process will not be as easy as stated, and I will need a little bit of time to negotiate with these people, Yu Kai explained. The return of the Overlord's destiny will embolden these people, and many will try to bargain with you about this ceremony, trying to take a lead role, Wang Wei stated. Don't play to their nonsense. We will set a date of 300 years, and your attitude when conversing with them is that they can participate if they want to. Is that a little too short? Plus, we really do need them for the ceremony. They don't know that, or they are not sure, Wang Wei stated. So, we will act as if they are not that important. When they realize we might be training paragons in this cage era, they will immediately accept our offer and may even bring gifts to ensure they have a spot. We don't need to be soft when negotiating with these people, Elder Yan Shui nodded. I know what to do, Yu Kai nodded. Good, Wang Wei nodded. The third request is that I need a lot of existence healing pills. How much are we talking about? Yu Kai asked with a frown, and Wang Wei handed him a paper with a number. This is too much, Yu Kai immediately rejected. Before the ultimate taboo, we created a bunch for reserves, and the ancestors never had the opportunity to use them, Yan Shui added. So, we have a lot of reserves, but even so, your demands are too high. Is there a reason you need so much? I need them for my Paragon Tribulation, Wang Wei explained, but his words did not alleviate their concerns. However, he did not further elaborate. I can access the Origin Seal Continent's treasury, but Wu Hong already used most of her reserves. In that case, we need to change things. The price for participating in the Mortalhood trial will be at least 5 pills per individual. Isn't that a little too much? Not at all, Wang Wei replied calmly. Just like us, they must have prepared these pills for their ancestors but never had a chance to use them. Additionally, we need to limit the number of paragons born in this era, which is an excellent restriction method. Not to mention the loose cultivators, Elder Yan Shui added. They will hear the news and complain. Setting up a restriction is a great way to shut them up and limit their number as well. You two make excellent points, but I'm worried your approach will backfire, Yu Kai explained. If you're not up to the task, you can leave it to me, Wang Wei suddenly said. No, I can do it. Good, he patted Yu Kai's shoulder. I know I could count on you. Yu Kai was immediately flattered. Wang Wei might not know it, but his reputation in the world was loud and prestigious. After all, he single-handedly engineered the destruction of the Seven Moon Era, and he's the reason this world hasn't headed to the abyss yet because of supreme unity. So, despite his lack of presence, people, especially the top lineages and overlords, know him very well. Yu Kai left the room with great confidence. However, after this old fox was alone, he realized Wang Wei's little trick and could only shake his head and praise the man's charisma. What do you think of him? Elder Yan Shui asked after Yu Kai left. He's talented but insecure about his position, Wang Wei commented. Plus, he doesn't seem to grasp what it means to be the sect master of the Tao opening sect. You can't blame him, Yan Shui said. He lived in an era in which the sect's pride and prestige was at its lowest. For most of his reign, all he knew was bowing and cowering to ensure its survival. The time he had to experience the pride of an overlord was short, to say the least. Wang Wei nodded in understanding. He did not care for Yu Kai's emotional state as long as the latter was capable of doing his job. So, he changed the subject. Where do I go for the primal seed trial? You haven't used your token, have you? Yan Shui replied. Put your divine sense into it, and you'll have access to all the information you want. I see, Wang Wei thanked him, and they chatted briefly before the great elder left. Wang Wei did not immediately use his token but summoned the flame blacksmith instead. The Overlord's destiny has returned. Do you plan to return to the Skill Dao Association? Wang Wei asked directly. No. I owe you quite the karma, and I'll return only after I repay my debt, the flame blacksmith replied truthfully. He was not an ingrate, so he would not just abandon Wang Wei now that he could return to his faction. That's good to hear, Wang Wei nodded. The people from the Skill Dao Association will arrive soon, and you can introduce yourself to them if you wish. It's not a bad idea to start laying out a deeper connection or alliance with our two factions. I understand. And if they ask you about the Tao Path tablet, your answer is you don't know. Understand? Flame Blacksmith hesitated briefly. I understand. Good. They are our future allies, and such a thing must be returned, but there is a time and a place, wouldn't you say so? After all, the Tao opening sect went to a lot of trouble to recuperate it from the hands of these villains. What you say makes sense, Flame Blacksmith nodded while sighing. Wang Wei dismissed him before teleporting to check on the Ma clan. I was right, Ma Liqiu did do something to her clan's existence, Wang Wei thought. He suspected Ma Liqiu was planning on using the Paragon he cultivated to revive herself, but he never had any proof. However, today, he peeped at this clan's existence blueprint, and found a loophole to help her revive. Her method is indeed sophisticated, but I could still tamper with them if I please, Wang Wei analyzed. However, he had already designated Ma Liqiu as an ally, so there was no point in messing up her revival. I can start training the Ma clan, but there is no need to allow them to participate in the current mortalhood trial. Ma Liqiu's revival cannot be this early, and even if Wang Wei wanted to give them a spot, none of their members were Empyreans, so it was too late for them. Wang Wei secretly left their dimension and finally used his token. Huh? Does the sect have their own internal version of the Void Illusion Realm? This token connected him to this Tao Connection Realm, which was basically the sect's version of the Void Illusion Realm for all disciples and elders to communicate and learn. Wang Wei even saw a version of the simulation his dream world had, which allowed disciples and elders to simulate techniques and pill refining in the Tao Connection Realm before learning in the real world. How modern, Wang Wei commented. The way the upper dimension sects operated was indeed more modern or advanced than the lower dimension. For a brief moment, Wang Wei had an absurd feeling that he was back in the modern world. He shook his head to remove those feelings before registering an account, followed by watching a few recordings explaining his rights and power, navigating the Tao Connection Realm, and finally, the basic sect rules. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14-18 Reunions. By using his token, Wang Wei directly teleported to the Primal Seed trial, and with the first test, he understood why few people could get this position. His first task was to defeat a Paragon projection with 90% strength. In other words, the minimum requirement for this test was to enter the Taboo Realm in the Empyrean Realm. This test was not an issue for Wang Wei, and he passed without much effort. The second part of the trial tested his soul. The second requirement for the position was a Paragon's soul while in the peak of the Empyrean Realm, and the soul has to be at least 92%. The third test was for willpower. The trial had a way to quantify willpower based on a Paragon's cultivation, and the minimum requirement for this test was also 92% willpower. The fourth trial tested the Tao Foundation, and the minimum requirement is a Tao re-establishment that achieves 1 root strength. The final test of this trial involved accomplishment. The owner of the Primal Seed token must have something remarkable, for example, acquiring the Paragon Slayer title. Although Wang Wei did not get the title, he has done countless remarkable things, including ending the Seven Moon Era and saving the world from Supreme Unity's evil machinations. The news immediately spread through the Tao communication realm after Wang Wei passed the trial with passing colors. He did not hide his trial, so anyone could use their tokens to watch the process. Not long after his triumph, the Zhou Patriarch visited Wang Wei and brought gifts. Although the Patriarch did not say anything about his previous animosity, he displayed his attitude with the gift, so Wang Wei accepted it. The other clans came to congratulate him but did not bring gifts like the Zhou clan. However, they showed more respect than they did during the first visit. Yan Hai left the position for him, but it was different when he showed that he could acquire the position on his own. Overall, Wang Wei's position in the sect was strengthened after this trial. Time passed, and less than 5 years after releasing the news, the first guest arrived in the Tao opening sect, and they were Wang Wei's acquaintances. In fact, they directly visited him. Lady Sun, it's a pleasure to see you, Wang Wei said as he motioned for her to sit down. You know him here too, Xiao Tiandi complained. Wang Wei ignored him, serving tea to him, Lady Sun, and the last visitor, Chen Shu. You're the extraordinary chef, right? Wang Wei said. Yes, Chen Shu nodded. Thank you for saving my disciple. The little girl that abandoned me after meeting his master? Wang Wei said casually. Ever since he sent that little girl to her master, she never returned, meaning he lost a talented chef from his team. She did not abandon you. I'm a little protective of her now, so I didn't allow her to stay outside, Chen Shu swiftly explained. But I promise to repay you for what you did for my disciple. That's good to hear, Wang Wei nodded before focusing on his primary guest. So, Lady Sun, have you been well lately? Life would have been better if I wasn't poor, Sun Junyao replied, making Wang Wei speechless. If you have something to say, you can be direct. Good, she nodded, that's what she wanted. I've successfully gathered the ticket for me and my apprentice, but am short of one for Chen Shu. I would like for you to do me a favor and allow me to pay for another spot using anything else than those damn pills. Sun Junyao had plenty of resources but did not have many existence-healing pills. She used her connection to get 10 pills, but she needed an extra 5 for her trusted chef. That's a small issue, Wang Wei agreed. What do you want as payment? Xiao Tiandi asked. He did not want to owe this bastard anything. Wang Wei raised his hand to display a projection of a world. This is a small clan called the Hui family, which focuses on the Tao of cooking. I need Chen Shu to accept one of their members as his disciple and teach them all his skills. The development of the Hui clan involved whether Wang Wei could one day make his future wife admit his cooking is better than hers, so he hasn't forgotten about them. Sun Junyao did not agree on Chen Shu's behalf. Instead, she looked at him to make a decision. It may not appear so, but my techniques require high talent, Chen Shu said. It's okay. You can take your time to find someone talented enough or even artificially create such a talent. In that case, I don't have any issue. Wang Wei nodded, and in front of all of them, he sent a message to Yu Kai asking for a ticket for Chen Shu. Once the latter confirmed the process, their deal was officially concluded. Thank you, Sun Junyao said, and Wang Wei accepted her gratitude. He was then prepared to chit-chat with these people before sending them away, but it seems that all their objectives were not accomplished. One more thing, Xiao Tiandi said. If you want to ask me about the mortalhood trial, I know as much as you do, Wang Wei said. No, that's not what we wanted to know, Xiao Tiandi replied. He took a moment to recognize his thoughts. The 7 Moon era has ended, and all signs indicate your next target should be the lock next. Wang Wei frowned but did not interrupt. We wanted to ask you for advice on the upcoming era, Xiao Tiandi asked. Wang Wei mulled it over, thinking how much to reveal or whether to say anything at all. Well, we've been allies for a while, and I can trust you guys to a certain extent. He raised his hand to hide the secrets of heaven and earth in the surroundings. His cautions raised the others' guards to the highest level. The world will face another major catastrophe once the lock is gone. What? Shouldn't we be entering the era of transcendence? Xiao Tiandi asked. It seems you know a lot, Wang Wei uttered. What catastrophe? The board needs to be reshuffled before the Transcendence era, Wang Wei said. So, a catastrophe targeting the overlords, Sun Junyao summarized. That's right, Wang Wei nodded. However, as you can imagine, no catastrophe is simple. If things go wrong, foreigners will occupy the Eternal Ascension world, and the Transcendence era will have nothing to do with us, the natives. The room became silent as these three processed this news. Can you stop this catastrophe? Xiao Tiandi asked. There are too many players involved, and I'm powerless to stop it, Wang Wei replied truthfully. Such simple words have revealed much information to the three of them. What do you suggest we do to survive the upcoming chaos? Xiao Tiandi asked directly. Find a backer, Wang Wei replied. Many transcendent powerhouses will be involved, and by then, Sun Zhenyo's perfection essence will be greatly sought after by people who seek the transcendence path or transcendence who want to return to their peak. Are you suggesting we join Buddhism? That's an option. However, we will have a home advantage in this catastrophe, so you can expect more transcendence appearing amongst the overlords and top lineages. You can choose one of them as your backer. Shen Shu was quiet while the pair of master and disciples were deep in thought. They glanced at each other and communicated with their eyes. Although Wang Wei didn't know what they said, he could tell they must have come to an initial agreement. Thank you for this information, Sun Junyao declared, preparing to leave. No problem, Wang Wei said. But I should warn you, you will be instrumental in destroying the lock, so you should prepare early. Sun Junyao suddenly paused, and Xiao Tiandi quickly asked, is it dangerous? Obviously. In that case, the world's destiny is not mine alone to bear, Wang Wei cut him off. Everyone must contribute if we want a chance at escaping that disgusting cage. I understand, Sun Junyao said. I'll be prepared. Wang Wei nodded before escorting them out of his mansion. Her perfection is indeed different from mine. My perfection focuses more on my cultivation foundation, while hers is the core of her entire being. She can probably achieve half-step transcendence as long as she can spread that perfection to her body and soul. However, once her soul becomes perfect, she'll become like a machine as all her emotions and desires evaporate, just like Grand Tao. Wang Wei knew the technique would bring him countless benefits, but he did not expect it to this extent. Seeing someone's blueprint is the best way to see their innermost essence. It's like having a key to the universe's deepest secrets. The path of imperfect perfection is indeed the best way forward for Sun Junyao, he commented. Although this path is not suitable to me, the idea of a perfect fleshly body to achieve transcendence is worth exploring. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14:19 Reunions 2. Isn't nothingness be considered perfect? Wang Wei asked himself. If there is nothing present, no matter, time, space, or concept, there is no flaw to have, so it could be argued that nothingness is also a perfect existence. Numerous thoughts flashed in his mind. Now that he has established a connection between the main power of his flesh and Sun Junyau's, he can learn from her. One of the steps for the flesh to be sanctified is one immortal characteristic. I chose the power of nothingness, and I've been cultivating that characteristic since then. What if that characteristic is also the key for the body to achieve transcendence? If I can spread that characteristic through a decent part of my existence, similar to Sun Junyau's perfection, I can eventually sublimate my body to a higher level. The highest level of nothingness is true nothingness, and once my body has this characteristic, it will officially sublimate to the realm of transcendence. A light of wisdom flashed in Wang Wei's eyes. No, what I'm talking about is the transformation process, not a true method itself. If Wang Wei's body ever achieved transcendence, then his existence would change based on his thoughts. However, he still hasn't considered a method to achieve said transformation. A direct manipulation of my existence is not as simple as stated, especially when it involves transforming or evolving into a higher being. Sun Junyau's perfection is innate, making it easier for her to manipulate, but even someone like her cannot just increase the perfection of her body and slowly evolve into a transcendent being. I need a concrete method, a step-by-step idea, Wang Wei thought. Let's see. The body has 3 gates, and opening each one grants exceptional powers. The third gate, the gate of flesh, allows a cultivator to be on par with a paragon. So, what if there were a 4th gate? No, it doesn't matter whether the body has a 3rd gate. The path of transcendence is about self-reliance, meaning I could still build a 4th gate even if there isn't one. Wang Wei immediately entered a state of epiphany. What do I need to build the 4th gate, the gate of transcendence? First, I would need to push my flesh to the absolute limit of the 3rd gate. Second, I would need to deeply understand the concept of essence, so I know how the gates are created and why they represent the potential of the human flesh. Finally, I would combine my understanding of essence with the power of nothingness, as the foundation to build the fourth gate. Wang Wei woke up from his enlightenment and felt this idea was feasible for his transcendent path. However, he also realized he was missing many necessary things to make it possible. Maitreya's technique: I need to see a true method of transcendence before I can make my own. Wang Wei had some minor understanding of the transcendent path due to his Qi Luck Dragon, comprehending the lock secrets, and, more importantly, learning the blueprint existence technique. All these have granted him some advantages for when he becomes half-step transcendence, but he felt they were not nearly enough. I hope she shares that technique once the lock is dealt with, Wang Wei thought. Maitreya or even Supreme Unity's technique would significantly accelerate his transcendent path. Still, he was confident he could do it without them, especially now that he had a concrete idea that he could follow. Without their technique, it would only take longer, and Wang Wei might have to take the risk to try and observe their existence with his new technique. What a good day, Wang Wei thought as he returned to his retreat. Now that he had a way forward on his transcendent path, he was in the best mood he'd been in a while. Time passed, and Wang Wei had to open his eyes after a few decades. Finally, back to the Empyrean realm, Wang Wei thought. Being able to see his blueprint had many advantages, one of which was he knew the best way to heal his existence injury, and return to his former cultivation realm. I should return to my peak before the 300 years are up, Wang Wei muttered with a grin. He walked out of the room. What's the urgency? Lady Shi Shangyan wanted to see you, Wang Qi replied. She was very insistent. Oh. Let her in. Wang Wei prepared the tea, table, and dessert, and a beautiful woman in yellow with star-like eyes walked into the room. He situated her before him and served tea. How have you been? As good as anyone can be in these trying times, she replied. True, Wang Wei nodded. But something seems on your mind. Shi Shangyan sipped her tea. As you already know, the lock has stranded the celestial race in the source Qi space, leaving a few of us. Shi Shangyan paused as she blushed a little. The mortalhood trial is an important event, an opportunity one cannot pass down. However, without access to the clan, I cannot pay for those 5 pills. No need to worry, Wang Wei immediately reassured her. The Celestial Clan is one of the first groups to believe and invest in me, so this is the least I can do. I promise to repay you as soon as I can contact the clan, Shi Shangyan promised. Wang Wei wanted to refuse but realized this girl was thin-skinned, and his refusal might make her even more embarrassed. No problem, Wang Wei agreed calmly. I can give 2 additional spots if you wish. No, 1 is fine, Shi Shangyan swiftly denied. If you say so, Wang Wei nodded. The two chatted briefly before Shi Shangyan left for her accommodation in the sect. Many people should come to visit, so don't go into a deep retreat, Wang Qi warned, and Wang Wei waved him off. The latter was correct as another visitor came by soon, Su Shi. Your eyes scream of your tiredness and loneliness. Well, hello to you too, Wang Wei said, trying hard not to roll his eyes. Who said these things are their greetings? Do you want me to play you a song? Su Shi suggested. I doubt your music can do anything for me, Wang Wei replied truthfully. There are a handful of people who can soothe his loneliness, and these people are either in the lower dimension, have disappeared, or are sealed in the dark truth. So, it's that bad, huh? Don't mention this, Wang Wei said. What brought you here? Su Shi glanced at him before saying, your tickets are too expensive. How many pills did you gather? 12, that's way more than I anticipated, Wang Wei acknowledged. The academy was only an Empyrean lineage, so it was rare that Emperor Kong gathered enough pills for 2 tickets. How many did you need? 2 extra tickets, Su Shi revealed. We are willing to pay something of equal value. That's not an issue, Wang Wei agreed and directly contacted Yu Kai to facilitate this deal. Afterward, the two chatted for a few hours, and at Su Shi's insistence, she played him a song. Unfortunately, Wang Wei was correct when he said only a few people could genuinely help him. As he watched Su Shi leave, he was deep in thought. The Chaos Demon gods definitely had members of their kind that achieved half-step transcendence through the flesh. If I can get their bloodline, the chances of condensing the fourth gate would drastically increase. Wang Wei was already scheming. In the upcoming catastrophe, Lin Fan will definitely play a significant role as a pawn of the Chaos Demon God. So, if he played his role correctly, Wang Wei might be able to get his hands on their bloodline through him. Let's wait and see, Wang Wei thought with squinted eyes. His next guest was somewhat unexpected. You're the only one participating in this trial? Wang Wei asked. No, the others will arrive later, Aoshin calmly replied. That's good to hear, Wang Wei nodded as he served wine instead of tea. While you're here, I'll take this opportunity to thank you again for the ceremony. Aoshin was one of the 22 sages who participated in the ceremony, meaning he also sacrificed his level 1 golden body of merit. The world was in danger, and it was my duty to help, Aoshin said. Plus, I understand the possible benefits later on once the lock is dealt with. Regardless, Wang Wei nodded. So, what brings you here? I doubt the demon race would need any aid to gather the ticket price. Not at all, Aoshin replied. The Star Sage sent me to give you a message. Oh. She said it was alright if you did not take the demon's side. She only asks for your neutrality. Interesting. Are the innate demon gods about to make a move? Wang Wei thought. Tell her I will take this in mind. Aoshin did not stay long, and Wang Wei's guest arrived less than a year later. His guess was soon proved correct as the guest was an old acquaintance, the primordial dragon, Eo Tianyi. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1420 Reunions, 3. I haven't seen you in a long time, Wang Wei commented as he served Eo Tianyi the tea. Yes, it has been a while, the dragon nodded as he accepted the tea and sipped it. You look different, Wang Wei added. How so? Your aura doesn't have the former arrogance that you were the most important thing between heaven and earth. Eo Tianyi almost choked after hearing these words. No, it's even more extreme than that. It's almost as if all your pride and arrogance are gone, Wang Wei continued. Well, Eo Tianyi sighed. My father gave me a wake-up call and showed me the world's truth. Sounds like a good father, Wang Wei praised. He only took a small sip of his tea as he was tired of drinking tea. Although these meetings were a dozen or even years apart, he still felt they were too frequent, which is why he did not desire any tea or wine. Maybe, Eo Tianyi replied. He was happy his father woke him up from his stupor of arrogance and pride, but a part of him was resentful that he did it in such a rough manner. That terrible trial broke Eo Tianyi's spirit and rebuilt it step by step, and he was not happy with the experience. So, what brought you to see me? Wang Wei asked directly. I'm here for two things, Eo Tianyi replied. Firstly, it's about our clan's ancestral talisman. Ancestral talisman? What does that have to do with me? Nothing directly, Eo Tianyi replied. We believed it was in Sun Zhenyo's hands after she killed Blood Dragon. The temple has been trying to recover it, but she is hard to find. Our information network indicated you had a close association with her, so we hoped you could help us regain the talisman. Then, you'll be disappointed, Wang Wei replied. Don't be in a hurry to refuse yet, Eo Tianyi said. We are willing to offer you an additional 20 pills. That's an interesting offer, but that won't change my mind. How about 30 pills? Wang Wei frowned. Since when is your temple so wealthy? We are probably the oldest faction, so why are you surprised by our wealth? No, you should have already wasted most of that wealth, Wang Wei countered. Eo Tianyi coughed in embarrassment. Anyway, you only need to know we are very wealthy regarding existence healing pills. Is that so? Wang Wei muttered. So, what do you say? I can't help you get the talisman back. Wait until I'm finished, Wang Wei raised his hand to stop him. For the same price, I can help you communicate with her to come to an agreement. So, you make no promise of success? My relationship with her is that of close acquaintances, so I couldn't guarantee success even if I wanted to, Wang Wei replied. However, I can promise to persuade her, but if she refuses, I won't use any force or any kind of coercion to help your temple. Ao Tianyi mulled it over and accepted this offer. All right, but if the negotiation fails, I hope you don't intervene in our effort to retake the talisman during the mortalhood trial. That's fine by me, Wang Wei responded before contacting Sun Junyao. Their negotiation was swift and the opposite of challenging. Sun Junyao is a remarkable woman, so she understood the danger of having a target on her back by one of the overlords. So, she agreed to return to the dragon talisman, and what she wanted in exchange was a few void-breaking talismans created by peak paragons. These talismans were not as good as the dragon talismans, but they made up in value with the number she asked for. Ao Tianyi wanted to refuse, but under Wang Wei's guarantee and protection, Sun Junyao finally got her asking price. I am one step closer to breaking the fate line between us, Wang Wei contemplated calmly. Was there a need to go to this length to protect her? Ao Tianyi complained. I always treat my friends well. I thought she was only an acquaintance, Ao Tianyi rebutted, and Wang Wei smiled, showing all his perfectly neat and white teeth. Let's move on to your second problem. I have a feeling that's the primary reason you visited me. Ao Tianyi became serious. Our temple has predicted that your sect did ask for these pills simply to limit the number of people participating. There is a high chance you were in grave demand for some reason. Wang Wei frowned. So what? He knew he wouldn't be able to hide the truth once the mortalhood trial started, and he started using these pills. Additionally, his tactic was an open one, meaning it was useless even if someone guessed his objective. Here, take a look at this. Wang Wei took the gourd and opened it. An intense medicinal smell enveloped the room, and he immediately felt his injury improving. So potent? He asked before swallowing one drop. Is that holy dragon water? That's right, Ao Tianyi said proudly. The holy medicine of curing, existence, injuries. We can provide you with an entire pool. Holy dragon water can only be created in the tombs of Tier 12 dragons and other innate demon gods, so it was understandable why the pre-March origin temple has such a vast quantity. It also explained why they had so many healing pills, since the diluted water can also be used to make existence healing pills. And what do you want in exchange? Wang Wei asked, even though he already had an idea. We only ask that you ban the demon race from participating in the mortalhood trial, Ao Tianyi said seriously. Wang Wei muttered, taking a moment to think it over. I can't do that. Why not? Ao Tian asked with a frown. I believe our offer is more than satisfactory. There are many reasons, but the primary one is that my desire for this holy water is personal, and I cannot use it to interfere in the matter between the demon and innate demon gods. Ao Tianyi understood his meaning. The battle between these two factions was a political event that all overlords must be careful about. The Dao opening sect has always remained neutral, at least openly, regarding this conflict, and if Wang Wei accepted their deal, that would change their sect's entire public stance on the matter. How about we double the price, and in return, you only need to limit the number of demon participants, Ao Tianyi stated. You can find an excuse that can keep your public neutral stance. The answer is still no. Many publicly neutral overlords have done secret deals with us and the demon race, so why can't you do it? Ao Tianyi argued. Don't tell it's about principles. You have overestimated the power I have, Wang Wei replied truthfully. What do you mean? Such a decision with such repercussions is something that the four ancestors must decide, Wang Wei revealed. I may have a lot of power, but if I try to decide on this matter, I guarantee that all the other clans and factions would stop me. I forgot about this, Ao Tianyi grunted, and Wang Wei shrugged. He was telling the truth. This is not something he could decide with his current political power in the sect. I heard you were great at convincing people. Can't you just convince them? Let's say I convince them. What will happen afterward? Wang Wei asked. What do you mean? Do you think the ancestors will be happy I made such a major decision without them? Wang Wei continued. How will they see me? Wang Wei was not talking nonsense. Shi Yuan and his brothers might not say anything to support him, but it was something else for the desolate emperor. From what Wang Wei knows about the latter, he was extremely vocal and not afraid to contradict the other three. There is no point in ruining my future potential for this deal, Wang Wei said. Anyway, there is no point in trying to stop the demon race. With this holy water, you can buy twice, no, thrice their number of spots. And your sect would allow that? Ao Tianyi asked. I can make an exception to get the holy dragon water, Wang Wei nodded. However, don't forget the contract you signed that said we are not responsible for what happened to your people inside the trial. Ao Tianyi looked at him, wondering what game he was playing. Additionally, we can buy the water from you with different resources, Wang Wei continued. It's not for sale, Ao Tianyi said directly, obviously showing his dissatisfaction with the failed agreement. Are you sure about that? I am. One of our supreme elders has this unknown relationship with the demon race's star sage, meaning he has been biased regarding all decisions the sect made regarding your two factions, Wang Wei said with a strange look. Now is your chance to cultivate a better relationship with me and balance his bias, and you're refusing? Ao Tianyi's lips twitched due to how speechless he was. Not to mention your temple owes me karma for bringing back the innate demon gods in the lower dimension, Wang Wei continued. Are you sure you want to refuse? I'll contact my father before making a decision, Ao Tianyi finally relented. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1421 Reunions 4. Are you sure about this? Yu Kai asked. They are asking for more than 25 spots, even more than us. The Dao opening sect planned to send 11 candidates, Wang Wei and one member from the 9 clans and one from the sectarian faction. Wang Wei calmly looked at the projection before him. It's okay. These people from the temple haven't realized that a large number means they will have a target on their backs. The demon race probably wants stay and watch as their enemies cultivate 25 new paragons, Yu Kai nodded. Not just the demon race, the other overlords won't stand for it too, Wang Wei added. We have the second largest number and are responsible for the ceremony, so we will also be a target. Be prepared. Won't you be there? I'll do my best to protect everyone, but I have my own plans, and something tells me this trial will not be simple, Wang Wei acknowledged. In that case, we should prepare ways to protect our investment, Yu Kai nodded. All the people chosen are talents, meaning it's one thing to lose them if they fail the Paragon Tribulation, but something else if they die before even having a chance at the Tribulation. By the way, how much of the Holy Dragon water do you want me to buy? Buy as much as possible until the temple tries to take advantage of us, Wang Wei replied before further elaborating. Take things slow in the initial discussion to avoid appearing too desperate. Then, after we've bought a large quantity, they'll try to raise the price to an absurd level. You can stop then. Alright, I understand. Wang Wei nodded. I know you're wise, and I shouldn't have to tell you, but I decided to do so just in case. Don't get involved in the dispute between the demons and the innate demon gods. No, you don't have to worry about me, Yu Kai replied. This kind of decision is a hot dragon lung. He would not touch it with a foot-long pole. His greatest desire is to do a good enough job as sect master, then he can use the sect's luck to become a paragon. That's good to hear. Oh, I forgot to ask you, are you entering the trial? No, my foundation is not deep enough, so I'll wait until the lock is gone and I'm more prepared before attacking the Paragon realm, Yu Kai replied. It's a good choice to be cautious. If the situation didn't call for it, I would also like to take more time, Wang Wei admitted. They soon ended their conversation since Yu Kai was busy, and Wang Wei had a feeling more of his old friends would come to visit. However, the next visitor was quite unexpected. You're Hua Shui, right? The demon-suppressing emperor's wife? Wang Wei asked. That's right. Weren't you captured with her? No, she hid me before they took her away, Hua Shui replied. Have you been hiding ever since? That's right. You're either quite lucky or quite capable, Wang Wei commented. He sipped his tea. And you're here for? I received a letter from Wei. She asked me to ask you for help. The chances of Honghua sending that letter undetected is almost zero, meaning the Qin dynasty allowed her to send the news. Are they trying to lure me into saving her, turning the incident into a contradiction between the two overlords? Wang Wei calmly analyzed. You don't need to worry about her, Wang Wei said. In the future, the Qin dynasty will have no choice but to negotiate with me, and they'll ask for her return as part of the deal. She'll probably lose her human and heavenly emperor position by then, but she'll be alive. Hua Shui opened her mouth and closed it as she did not know what to say. Before then, you can stay in this sect and wait for her return. Hua Shui mustered the courage. How long will that take? This is a waiting game, so we're talking thousands of yuan epochs, if not more. But what if something happens to her beforehand? Then that's her fate, Wang Wei replied calmly but coldly. The fact I'm even willing to help is a testament to my good nature, Wang Wei said. Most people would not even offer you asylum. But, you're a smart woman, Wang Wei cut her off. So you should understand the complexity of confrontation between two overlords. Do you think my friendship with your wife is enough to fight the Qin dynasty for her? Hua Shui was silent. The fact I'm even willing to help is a testament to my good nature, Wang Wei said. Most people would not even offer you asylum. I understand. Wang Wei summoned Wang Qi to settle this woman while he was left to his thoughts. If she were an emperor, I would have given her a chance at the trial, and in the unlikely chance she could become a paragon, she could have attacked the Qin dynasty and caused them trouble. Without their ancestors, Qin would have suffered from the attack of a paragon. Sadly, Hua Shui was just a Dao ancestor. After losing her human and heavenly emperor position, Honghua's potential will be drastically reduced and probably not worth any investment, Wang Wei analyzed. However, isn't this an interesting story? After having her talent forcefully taken, she grew rapidly and avenged the people who made her suffer. Wang Wei smirked. Normally, a faction such as the Qin dynasty is too powerful for such a story to occur, but the upcoming catastrophe will reshuffle the board, and Great Qin is not immune to this reshuffling. So, maybe there is a chance for Honghua after all. All Wang Wei needs to do is save Honghua and invest a little in her startup, and she may contribute enormously to the downfall of one of his competitors. She is still worth investing in. Wang Wei waved his hand to summon someone, the sealed wrath. He looked her in the eyes. I have an opportunity for you to save your master's descendants. Do you want to hear it? What opportunity? Wang Wei explained the mortalhood trial to her, along with the danger. I'll take it, Wrath said without hesitation. Although she was only an emperor and her chances of becoming a paragon on that trial were slim, she still wanted to try. After all, she was close to the Empyrean realm, hence, it was not completely impossible. Excellent choice, Wang Wei nodded before calling someone to situate her. After dealing with Wrath and Hua Shui, he had the urge to recruit some talents from the lower dimension. So, he used his talisman to contact two people, Xiao Songxi and Yang Guowei. You look terrible, Wang Wei said as he looked at the disheveled Yang Guowei. And you look tired, he added to Xiao Songxi. Did you contact us just to mock us? Yang Guowei asked. I'm not that bored, Wang Wei replied. I came with an offer. You want to recruit us? Xiao Songxi asked. That's why I like talking to smart people, Wang Wei said. For you, Yang Guowei, I offer you two choices. Be somewhat free and become a guest elder of the Dao opening sect, or offer your service to me and become an official member with all the perks. Can you save my mother? Yang Guowei asked immediately. What's wrong with her? She handed her soul to the undead phoenix, and once he died, the backlash almost killed her. I tried my best to save her, but her soul was severely damaged, and only Paragon tier resources can save her. I would have to see her to say for sure, but it doesn't appear to be something that a few pills cannot heal, Wang Wei nodded. So, you'll help me? Depends, Wang Wei replied. If you choose the first option, it'll provide you with a platform to get the pills you need. If you choose to serve me, I can get the pills from my resource reserve and lend them to you. I choose the second one, Yang Guowei said. Although his pride hurt to serve as someone who was once his equal and competitor, none of that mattered in the face of saving his mother. Additionally, Wang Wei has long become a legend that has far outpaced everyone in his generation. Good, come to the sect, and we will sign the contract, Wang Wei nodded. Whether it is Yang Guowei or Xiao Songxi, both have the potential to become peak paragons if cultivated correctly, so it was worth investing in them. Wang Wei ended the conversation with Yang Guowei and focused on the former ruler of the Baishi clan. Something tells me you have something else in mind for me, Xiao Songxi said. Why didn't you join the sea or demon race? Wang Wei asked. The sea race is divided into one top lineage, with one primal and the rest who choose to join the demon or the innate demon gods. I've had close experience with how the sea race sees foreigners like myself, Xiao Songxi sneered. His former experience is why he would rather suffer as a loose immortal than cozy up to either of these factions. Understandable, Wang Wei nodded. Do you remember how you asked if you could get a second chance at becoming an eternal if you made a big enough sacrifice? Xiao Songxi's eyes squinted. I do. Well, I have a way to test this out, and I want your cooperation for this experiment, Wang Wei revealed. He wanted to know if he could use his new mastery of the existence blueprint to give people a second chance at walking the eternal path, and his experiment would start with Xiao Songxi. You told me this process would require the sacrifice of a paragon, Xiao Songxi replied. Yes, and am prepared to pay all the costs for the experiment, Wang Wei nodded. I can agree, but I have a few requirements, Xiao Songxi replied after a brief contemplation. I'm all ears. My request is simple, it's about my family, Xiao Songxi added. Whether this experiment is a success or not, I want you to care for my family. That can be arranged. Both my family must be emperors, Xiao Songxi continued. It's fine if my mother is an ordinary emperor, but my sister must receive the best training. You must do your best to train her into an eternal. Wang Wei groaned softly. I can do my best, but you should understand that such a thing is not guaranteed. I just want it in writing that you will try your best, Xiao Songxi added. That's fine by me, Wang Wei nodded. Eternal emperors were not as difficult to cultivate as in the lower dimension due to the vast and varied resources available in the upper dimension. So, he can use his authority to give Xiao Songxi's sister the best resources, inducing rare things that can change her talents. Good, I'll come sign the contract to make it official. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1422 Reunions, v. Xiao Songxi nodded in satisfaction with the contract's content and signed it without hesitation. It'll be in your care from now on, Lord Wang Wei. No problem, Wang Wei nodded. Go and prepare for the trial. You won't enter with the Dao opening sect but with the group of loose cultivators lucky enough to raise the ticket price. The Dao opening sect had many people, and Wang Wei did not want others to put a target on them, meaning he wouldn't bring Xiao Songxi or Yang Guowei directly with him. He also reckoned that other factions would do the same. No problem, but can I ask you for a small favor? Depends on what it is. It's nothing major, Xiao Songxi said. I just wanted to know if it was possible for you to allow me to see my family in the lower dimension. Wang Wei immediately shook his head. Before the lock is gone and that person is dealt with, direct communication from the upper dimension to the lower is impossible. Is that so? Xiao Songxi felt it was a shame, but this was not something he or anyone else could change. Wang Wei had someone take care of him while he waited for his next guest, which was Monk, Dulgun, and 3 other barbarians. You don't look too good. Is the injury still an issue? Wang Wei asked. I may have gone a little overboard during that fight, Monk smiled wryly, and Dulgun snorted coldly at him. I may be able to help, Wang Wei said. Hold on. He pinched a few hundred acupoints in Monk's body, and suddenly, all the healing pills he previously took started to take effect, and his aura grew at a steady pace. Everyone was shocked except for Wang Wei. He did not just hit random acupoints but directly affected Monk's existence, to enhance the effect of all the existence healing pills he previously took. Such divine application was made easy with his newfound ability to see people's blueprints. There is still time, Wang Wei said. If you use the best time acceleration array, you may be able to return to your peak before the trial. Monk sighed deeply. I guess I'll add this to the list of the things I owe you. Wang Wei just smiled. Let's get back on topic, Monk continued. I came for the trial, especially to know whether it will be effective for pure body refiners like myself. The records we have said it works for body refiners, but it's not the primary target. I guess whatever resources this trial has are mostly for chi practitioners, and a tiny percentage are for body refiners. So, it won't be a waste of my time? Probably not, and even if there are no resources, it is still a place where you can cultivate normally. That's true, Monk nodded. He was on the fence about this trial, primarily due to his injuries. Now, he only saw the benefits with no disadvantages. The barbarian clan paid in full without using their connection with Wang Wei to ask for a discount. Monk quickly returned to the clan to heal before promising Wang Wei they would reunite at the trial. The next person who visited Wang Wei was Hong Miling, or his future wife's future disciple. She came to complain that someone had looted the Origin Seal continent's treasury of all its existence healing pills. Wang Wei promised her and the continent as many places as they wanted but ultimately decided on up to 5 members. Wang Wei had a few decades of peace before his next guest, allowing him to improve his injury. What a strange combination, Wang Wei thought when he saw Tong Ruobing, Mu Lei, and Yin Zhen together. However, a quick reminder of their factions, and he knew why they were together. Wang Wei was about to welcome them with a smile when he noticed something. Don't you have to explain yourself? I knew I couldn't hide it from you, Tong Ruobing sighed before raising her hand to release a golden light. She had a first-level golden body of merit. It made sense since she was the heavenly queen in the lower dimension and had significantly developed talisman Dao for the entire lower dimension. So, it was only a matter of time before she could condense this body, and with the help of her faction, this time could be accelerated. I didn't know, Tong Ruobing explained. I was enthralled by a project, and the association purposely did not tell me about the ceremony. Wang Wei looked her in the eyes, and it seemed she was telling the truth. Regardless, he still said, even if I am the chosen one, the responsibility of saving the world falls on everyone's shoulders. I will not sacrifice my life or happiness while you lot sit and watch. Understand? I understand, Tong Ruobing nodded, feeling uncomfortable that she was spoken to like a child who had made a mistake. Regardless, she understood the situation and kept quiet. Good, now that you are, there is a way for you to do your part, Wang Wei continued. Where is the blood from that abyss creature? Is something wrong? I've handed it to the association, Tong Ruobing responded. Wang Wei looked at her, having figured out a few things with this brief exchange. That blood is one of the keys to our liberation, so tell your association to prepare to sacrifice it. Don't worry, we understand when to consider the overall situation. That's good. Well, for what purpose do I owe this visit? I'll tell you in advance that I will not be giving any discounts. I know very well how cheap you are, Tong Ruobing sneered. I'm here about our Dao Path tablet. Is it in your hands? If you're talking about the copy I got from Blood Dragon, then yes, it's in my hands, Wang Wei nodded. The copy? That's right. Tong Ruobing glanced at him, unable to decipher whether he was telling the truth. What about the original? Where is it? Probably in the hands of the Southern Chu dynasty, Wang Wei responded. By the time the barbarian race and I raided Shu Ren's treasury, they had already plundered a lot. And you expect me to believe that you, of all people, allowed them to take your treasure without fighting back? Tong Ruobing asked. I didn't have a choice, did I? Wang Wei countered. They have the new Paragon, Jimin, as their backers, and more importantly, these bastards seem to have some connection with Great Qin. I was planning to deal with them later, but they were not exactly at the top of my priority list. Tong Ruobing frowned at this news. It revealed much but could also be a trap since it came from this unreliable bastard. Well, thank you for telling us this news. She decided the association needed more extreme means to locate their treasure. Ultimately, it would not matter whether it was in the hands of the Dao opening sect or the Great Qin Saint Court, their association was prepared to wage war to get it back. I'm glad I could help, Wang Wei said with a smile. Is that all you wanted to inquire about? That's it. He nodded before focusing on the two quiet body refiners. Long time no see, guys. Yes, it's been a while, Mu Lei replied, but the taciturn Yin Zhen only nodded. More than 10,000 yuan epoch, Wang Wei reminisced. Well, we can talk later, let's focus on business first. Are you guys representing the True Essence lineage? That's right. Wang Wei muttered. The True Essence lineage was created by the body ancestor from the Myriad Emperor world. During the Golden Ear, they were on track to become one of the overlords, but they made a powerful enemy on the verge of annihilating them. The body ancestor, a peak paragon at the time, made the ultimate sacrifice to protect his lineage by allowing them to turn his potent fleshly body into a primal tier puppet. With the puppet, the lineage survived their catastrophe. However, the body ancestor's soul entered reincarnation, and to this day, they have never found him. Since that event, the True Essence lineage's luck seemed to have depleted, and they never became one of the overlords. What brings you to see me? The elders sent us to check whether this trial has any effects on pure body refiners, Mu Lei stated. You're the second person who asked me this question, Wang Wei replied before telling them the same thing he had told Monk. If what you said is true, it may not be worth investing too much in this trial, Mu Lei commented. That's for you to decide, Wang Wei shrugged. However, if you want, I can allow you to exchange the ticket with your famous concentrated essence dew. Mu Lei glanced at him. Concentrated essence dew was the best resource to help body refiners open the gate of flesh, so he understood why Wang Wei would want access to it. I can relay this news to the elders and let them decide, Mu Lei said. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1423 Reunions, 6. Is the True Essence lineage about to rise? Wang Wei contemplated. With two talents like Mu Lei and Yin Zhen, it's not out of the ordinary to say their faction is about to flourish. It seems that Grand Dao has curved the development of pure body refiners after the second true transcendent, so it's not guaranteed they will rise. Hopefully, Grand Dao will be less strict with them, otherwise, their fate will be the same. If Grand Dao doesn't relent, the best that will happen to the True Essence lineage is that their faction will come close to a transcendent faction but fail to reach that level truly, just like they did in the Golden Era. If I want to understand enough about essence to build the fourth gate, the knowledge of the sect might not be enough. So, I should start investing in the True Essence lineage, Wang Wei planned. The most direct way to what I want would be to find out where the body ancestor's soul was reincarnated. His disappearance could be an accident during the reincarnation process or the secret machination of the Yama King or someone else. Once I become a true Earth Emperor, I may be able to find out and exchange that information for all their knowledge. Wang Wei nodded in satisfaction. He knew how to treat their lineage in the upcoming catastrophe. He waved his hand to send a talisman to Yu Kai about acquiring the concentrated essence dew. This thing could be essential for his next plan. I'm tired of drinking tea and wine, so let's change the meeting location, Wang Wei thought before walking out of his room. There was a small pond in his backyard, and he decided to fish. The pond only looked small on the surface but had an entire dimension full of different creatures. In just a few hours, Wang Wei caught a few rare sea and demon races. This is too easy and not as fun as I thought, Wang Wei complained. In that case, let's make it interesting. He pointed at the pond, and his Tao of fate and luck enveloped it. With a grin on his face, Wang Wei threw his fishing rod into the pond. The thin line disappeared from the pond and appeared in the blue dress universe in the limitless exchange hall's territory. No one saw this thin rod line as it penetrated the defense of the best Empyrean lineage of that area and hooked itself into a scroll. Caught something? Wang Wei yanked the rod to pull out the scroll. A sword technique? It's quite decent for an Empyrean technique. Although this thing was useless to him, it was better than nothing. Wang Wei cast his rod a second time, but his luck was not so good, and he only caught a bottle of Emperor pills. Now, this is how fishing should be done, Wang Wei nodded. He deactivated his luck to ensure his catch would indeed be random. Time passed, and soon, his next guest arrived. The famous Infinite Sword Emperor, Jian Wuxuang, Wang Wei said without looking back. No, Sword Empyrean, I'm surprised. Jian Wuxuang did not acquire much merit in the lower dimension and only proved the Tao by working for the rebellion. So, the fact he could become an Empyrean in just 10,000 yuan epoch was somewhat of an anomaly. Who dare call themselves famous before you? Jian Wuxuang said with a smile before sitting beside him. Wang Wei glanced at him and knew why his cultivation was so fast, the destiny of the ultimate sword path. Even though his father was the chosen one, this bastard has been doing his best to tap into that destiny, trying to become the chosen one. Although he failed, he still benefited immensely in the process. Who is this beautiful lady? Wang Wei asked, glancing at the woman accompanying him. That's Lady Su Li, she's the most talented descendant of the seven-strike sword sage, Jian Wuxuang introduced. It's an honor, Wang Wei saluted. I've heard countless praises about the sword sage from my ancestor. I very much doubt that, Su Li replied rudely. The Sword Path League has 3 primals, also known as the 3 sword sages, but the entire league has a bad relationship with the Tao opening sect because Yan Hai holds the title of the greatest swordsman in the world and the sword Grand Tao source position. I can see you're not very good at political speech, Wang Wei commented, and Jia Wuxuang smiled wryly. I'm just direct, Su Li replied. I guess there is nothing wrong with that. Here, check your luck, Wang Wei handed them each a rod. Although they were confused, they accepted his offer. Wang Wei caught a healing paste that worked only in Tier 3 and below. However, his 2 guests were quite lucky. Jian Wuxuang caught a sword talisman with a strike close to a paragon, while Su Li caught an Empyrean artifact that was once a paragon artifact. Compared to me, you're quite lucky, Wang Wei nodded. This is? Jian Wuxuang asked, trying to control the shock in his voice. Think of it as a meeting gift, Wang Wei smiled. Let's get to business. Did you guys just come here to say hello? No, we have official business, Jian Wuxuang said. However, he did not follow up with his words. In fact, his expression became subtler, as if he was trying to tiptoe around whatever subject he was about to bring up. Well? Wang Wei asked. It's like this, our league noticed the destiny for the ultimate sword path changed owner. A hint of worry and anger flashed in Wang Wei's eyes but disappeared at the same speed they appeared. That's right. Jian Wuxuang noticed the brief change in his atmosphere and chose his words carefully. The Sword Emperor is now the holder, correct? Get to the point, Wang Wei said. Our league is wondering how much is she attached to that destiny? Wang Wei stopped handling the rod and looked at him. You want to exchange that destiny with the Sword Emperor? That's right, Jian Wuxuang admitted. Why would you want to do that? Isn't that obvious? Su Li butted in. The destiny of the ultimate sword path could be the key that raises our league to the next level, Jian Wuxuang added. You have a point, Wang Wei nodded. However, his intuition told him something fishy was going on. The Sword Path League did not want that destiny only for the sake of their faction's rise. Wang Wei felt there was some kind of secret behind all of this. But, why are you telling me this? Shouldn't you wait for the ancestor's return and discuss it with her? Well, you know how bad our 2 factions' relationship is, Jian Wuxuang added. So, I was wondering whether you could be a mediator. Because of our friendship, the best I can do for you is to pass on the message. As for being a mediator, forget it. There was nothing to gain in this transaction, and Wang Wei guessed his ancestor would not accept this trade, so what was the point in getting too involved? We will compensate you, Su Li said. I'm not a swordsman, so I doubt most of the things you can offer will entice me. Su Li was about to say something, but Jian Wushuang raised his hand to stop her. If I may ask, is your father alive? Wang Wei's eyes suddenly turned dangerous. What's it to you? If he's alive, we may be able to track him down, Jian Wushuang quickly replied. Oh. Our league holds the destiny of Sword Dao. With the right price, we can track anyone who has ever called themselves a swordsman and is a citizen of the Eternal Ascension world. A twinkle flashed in Wang Wei's eyes. How effective is your search? We may need your help, but as long as he is alive, we can track him down even in other chaos worlds. That is quite the effect, Wang Wei muttered. This was an offer worth thinking over. As much as I want to find my father, I also don't want to appear as if I have sold my ancestor for my own benefit. So, you need to come up with something truly exceptional for me to become your mediator. This is what we are prepared to exchange for that destiny, Jian Wushuang replied before transmitting the information directly into Wang Wei's mind. That is an offer that could tempt her, Wang Wei nodded. I agree to your conditions, but beware that I do not guarantee success. We understand this, Jian Wushuang nodded. The League knows of their terrible relationship with Yan Hai, so they were more than satisfied with someone of this level of influence and power acting as the mediator. Otherwise, their only option would be to fight the Dao opening sect to get what they want. Good. The next step was to sign a binding contract to finalize this deal. Wang Wei then arranged accommodations for those two and the other swordsmen from the League that were coming at a later date. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1424 Reunions, 7. Wang Wei glanced at the departed swordsman. Interesting, Wang Wei thought. Who would have thought this little trial would have become the key for the members of my generation to reach the top of the Eternal Ascension world and take power? This trial will create countless paragons from his generation. Once they have the power, it's only a matter of time before they start leading their respective faction, especially since the upcoming catastrophe will force them to grow at an exponential rate. However, this is not necessarily a good thing, Wang Wei thought. The people in his generation are too young, meaning their foundations are not deep enough. Wang Wei could foresee a few of them dying in the upcoming Paragon Tribulation. This trial has become a destiny tipping point of this world, Wang Wei thought as he looked at the sky. This is a sign that Heavenly Dao has recuperated enough power and is preparing for the catastrophe. However, isn't celebrating a little too early? Supreme Unity has just lost a great deal of power, meaning they had time to plan their next move. But Wang Wei did not believe for a second he would give up after planning for so long. I may not have as much time as I anticipated, Wang Wei concluded before returning to his fishing. Sword Path League's accommodating mountain, Jian Wushuang thanked the elder who brought him here and immediately stepped up his own formation. He contacted the League and reported the situation. All these negotiations and planning are too tedious, Su Li commented. We are swordsmen. If we want something, we should use our swords to take it. Are you suggesting we fight the Dao opening sect? Jian Wushuang asked speechlessly. Why not? Su Li rebutted. We have already designated them as the greatest threat in the upcoming calamity, so why not ally with others to eliminate them? Jian Wushuang looked at her incredulously. This is why the League Master didn't pass the position to you. He's just afraid of my direct and efficient operating mode, Su Li countered. Jian Wushuang shook his head. Did I say something wrong? The Destiny Sword Monarch sacrificed his life to peek at the future, and this is the plan you could devise based on the information he provided? What's wrong with my plan? According to him, Wang Wei's former actions will turn into the power of destiny that will protect the Dao opening sect in the upcoming catastrophe, meaning, of all of us, they are indeed the most significant threat, but they are also the ones most likely to survive. Hence, why must we eliminate them? Do you remember what the prophecy said about the Origin Seal continent? Jian Wushuang asked instead of explaining. Without Empress Wu, the Origin Seal continent will be the first to be destroyed, Su Li replied. What else? There is a 90% chance that the Empress will be the next transcendent of the world, Su Li said with a frown. What does this have to do with the Dao opening sect? Damn it, are swords and killing the only thing in this woman's head? Jian Wushuang complained. What else? The Origin Seal continent has a deep karmic bond with the Dao opening sect. There is a 70% chance that the bond is a marriage bond. However, this should be nonsense since everyone knows the Empress will not fancy anyone. Jian Wushuang's lips twitched. Had you paid attention in the meeting, you would have remembered someone mentioned Empress Wu had a love-fate line. Adding the fact that Wang Wei's wife is a perfect copy of her, it's not easy to put two and two together. Su Li was silent. The Origin Seal continent is weak, but as long as the Dao opening sect or Buddhism protects them, it should be enough for Empress Wu to grow to her full potential and return the favor. And if we attack the Dao opening sect, the Origin Seal continent will not stand by, meaning we would have to face 6 primal paragons, one of which is Empress Wu, who everybody knows to bet on in one-on-one fight, and Sword Empress with the highest attack potency. Tell me, in what world is this a good strategy? Su Li's face was calm and stoic before she responded. Ultimately, all of these nonsense plans and schemes are because we are too weak. You have never said truer words, Jian Wushuang nodded. However, before you grow to the level where you can dominate everything with your strength alone, don't repeat these stupid and naive things. Su Li stared at him and snorted coldly before walking to one of the rooms. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang massages his temple, demonstrating his frustration. After returning to the sect and league, his talent, ambition, and the fact that he technically survived the outlaw trial garnered him a great deal of attention, resources, and power. However, Jian Wushuang was plagued by the legacy of his ancestor, the founder of the sword-casting villa. According to the record, the sword-casting emperor had a smooth-sailing life for most of his cultivation journey, but everything changed after his rematch with the battle-maniac emperor. Since that defeat, all his luck seemed to have run out, and he suffered tribulations after tribulations, drastically changing his personality. The sword-casting emperor eventually became the sword-casting paragon, but he seemed to have reached the limit of his talent and destiny. As a last-ditch effort, he started focusing on his title, casting swords. His talent was subpar for the profession of weapon refining. Still, the sword-casting emperor somehow defied his fate as a last act of defiance and became one of the greatest weapon refiners of his era. It's with this ability that he established the sword-casting pavilion as one of the core factions of the Sword Path League despite not having a primal or peak paragon. Unfortunately, the sword-casting emperor's personality was genuinely shit, leaving his descendants in a terrible situation during the Seven Moon era. So, when Jian Wushuang was trying to rise to power in the league, he suffered much resistance due to his ancestors' legacy. As a last result, his faction suggested he used a marriage alliance to close the gap with the other factions. Jian Wushuang vehemently denied this request. After what happened with Daiji, he forsaken women and love entirely. Unfortunately, some things are beyond his control. His elders talked to the league master, and without his consent, Jian Wushuang was suddenly stuck with Su Li. Most of the time, the girl is easy to get along with. She's a proud and powerful swordswoman, and using this commonality, the two can spend years discussing and training with each other. Jian Wushuang's problem is when they talk about different topics. Su Li's personality is one-dimensional, she only cares about swordsmanship and strength. This personality blends into every aspect of her life, making conversation with her unbearable when it concerns anything other than swordsmanship or cultivation. At this rate, I will start drinking, Jian Wushuang complained. He now understood why so many swordsmen loved to drink. Many troubles that cannot be solved with the sword can be cured with a bottle. If only I could have an easy life like Ji Lanfang. Jian Wushuang and Ji Lanfang are known as the Qilins of the Sword Path League. Technically, there is a third, but the Golden Sword Emperor is considered an outcast in his own faction. Back to the topic, while Jian Wushuang pursued political power and was more ambitious, Ji Lanfang was more of a pure swordsman, focusing more on his skills and pursuit of the Tao. So, when the League suggested marrying him to a more powerful faction or something along these lines, Ji Lanfang directly rejected them. No point in complaining since this is the path I've chosen, Jian Wushuang sighed. He really didn't know what to do with Su Li. On one hand, he truly needed her help to establish himself, but on the other hand, he could not stand her unless they were talking about swordsmanship. Would things be different after I became a paragon? Jian Wushuang contemplated. This was unlikely since Su Li's ancestor was a sword sage, meaning that this marriage would hang over his head until Jian Wushuang could also become a primal. Maybe I can choose another partner? He groaned after thinking about this. Firstly, he wanted no partner, and secondly, choosing another partner might cause trouble in the League and ruin his opportunities instead of increasing them. I may have to suck it up, Jian Wushuang thought as he walked to a mediation room. Maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe I can learn to love her. Better yet, maybe I can change her. He shook his head and sighed. Let's not think about this now. He summoned his sword and started to meditate. He could not increase his cultivation, but there was still room for his strength to improve, starting with increasing his synchronization with his Tao-proving artifact. Although Jian Wushuang chose the path of political power, that did not mean he had abandoned his sword Tao. On the contrary, he understood the necessity for strength even more. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1425 Reunions, 8. Wang Wei raised his head to look in the direction of the Tianwei Peak or the sect master's personal mountain. Normally, when I contact him, he answers immediately. Did something happen? He sent a talisman to Yu Kai after the League people left but never received any response. I guess I'll wait. Wang Wei focused on this newfound hobby. During his long life, he has tried many hobbies, including drinking tea and wine, cooking, playing chess, wood carving, and a few others, but he never truly kept them. He's hoping fishing will stick. While this is fun, I feel the view is not up to par, Wang Wei thought. He was a man of action, so after finding a problem, he dealt with it. He contacted Wang Qi with a screen floating next to him. Are you busy? A little, but what do you need? Wang Qi asked. I need someone to rebuild my garden from the Heavenly Emperor Palace, Wang Wei said. He loved that garden and spent much time there, especially when receiving guests. That's not a problem, Wang Qi nodded. Do you want only the garden built or the palace as well? Just the garden. While the palace was beautiful and a symbol of power and luxury, he preferred the calm and simplicity of his, transcending Fate Mountain. Noted. Do you want an exact replica, or would you mind making some improvements? Wang Wei contemplated. Show me your improvement design first. If I like it, I'll approve it. As you wish. Wang Wei had to wait more than a year before he met Yu Kai, and during this time, he had already approved Wang Qi's new design, and his garden was 10% done. Did something happen? Wang Wei asked as he pulled an Emperor artifact from his pool. There are a few matters that may require you to decide, Yu Kai replied truthfully. However, we can deal with your matter first. Wang Wei glanced at him. Based on his being so supportive and caring, it appeared Yu Kai was about to throw a hot potato that was his responsibility to him. All right, Wang Wei nodded. After the first defeat of the 7 moons, Heavenly Tao purposely opened the secrets of heaven and earth to the world. Did our sect take that opportunity? We did, Yu Kai nodded. The people from the Observing Destiny Hall would not miss such a chance. Wang Wei glanced at a mountain in the distance surrounded by an ethereal mist of fate and truth. What did they see? He asked. They saw you, Yu Kai replied. Me? Yes, they saw the prosperity and possible downfall of the sect all leads to you. That would explain why you guys gave me so much power, and barely no one resisted, Wang Wei commented. Yu Kai smiled wryly but did not add anything to this conversation. If the other factions were not stupid, they should have taken that opportunity, Wang Wei continued. Is there a way for us to find what they detected? That's a tricky question, Yu Kai replied. We have a few key spies in their midst, and if we sacrifice them, we might be able to get some information. The question is whether it's worth sacrificing them for this news. That is indeed the question, Wang Wei agreed. He was interested in whatever secrets the Sword Path League hid but hesitated whether it was worth sacrificing such key assets. These spies might serve a better role later in the catastrophe, so sacrificing them now might not be worth it. Let's take things slowly for now, Wang Wei decided. The League's secret might be useful, or it might be something only significant to them. So, Wang Wei chose to wait, and maybe, there will be a better chance to discover the truth later on. Alright, what trouble have you encountered? Wang Wei asked. As you know, all the clans have a main branch and countless side branches, Yu Kai said. Unfortunately, I've encountered some trouble with the Yen clan. I don't know if you know this, but one of their branches, the sword branch, has enormous power in the clan because they have inherited part of the ancestors' sword talent and were even trained by them. The only reason they haven't become the main branch is their lack of numbers. I've heard about them, Wang Wei nodded. Red Mask has been lazing in the past few years. What seems to be the problem? It's regarding the spot for trial, Yu Kai explained. The main branch has chosen their candidate, but the sword branch vehemently denies the choice and wants someone from their branch. Isn't our sect's motto about meritocracy? Have their candidates battle it out, and the most powerful one will have the spot, Wang Wei responded casually. They did that, and the sword branch won, Yu Kai said, his voice containing a hint of carefulness. However, Patriarch Yan Di has used some clan and sect rules to ensure his branch received the spot and denied the battle's result. Now, the sword branch has been pressuring me to decide on this matter, and I don't know what to do. What did the Great Elder say? She said she was too close to this problem and allowed me to handle it. She probably knew you would come to me and wanted to see how I would deal with this situation. Yu Kai smiled wryly after hearing this. He thought the same, but he couldn't exactly say anything to the Great Elder. So, what do you think I should do? Did Yan Di break any rules? Wang Wei asked. His actions, while shameless, were within the rules, Yu Kai replied. That's one of the reasons he couldn't do anything. Since that's the case, the spot will stay with him. Then, what about the sword branch? Tell them that their candidate can disguise as one of the loose cultivators to enter, Wang Wei said. Now that I think about it, I might need someone to do some dirty jobs for me. Although I have Yang Guowei and Xiao Songxi, I worry about their strength. Tell the sword branch that if their candidate agrees to work for me, I'll compensate them. I'll relay the message, Yu Kai said excitedly. This issue was resolved, and even the sword branch disagreed with this decision. The trouble was no longer his to bear. If they agree, provide them with the best disguise method, including the best method to hide from divination and such. I'll need you to provide the same for my 2 men. No problem, Yu Kai said without hesitation. As the sect master, his greatest power was controlling the sect's resources, so it was easy for him to achieve. Not to mention, the laws said that primal seeds have almost unlimited access to the sect's resources. You said you had issues you wanted me to deal with. What are the others? Wang Wei asked. It's about the divine faith heaven, Yu Kai said. They are not happy that we banned them from the trial, and they have sent a delegate to discuss this matter. Oh. Well, do you want to see them? Yes, send them in, Wang Wei nodded calmly, and Yu Kai basically ran away to notify the guests. Soon, an elderly man with long gray hair and a white beard that reached his knees, gold eyes, and divine aura approached Wang Wei, followed by divine Zhu behind him. Salutation, Prime Seed Wang Wei. My name is Divine Lei, and it's an honor to meet you. You are the most polite god I've ever seen in my life, Wang Wei said without turning to face his guest or inviting them to fish with him. I understand my young apprentice here was rude to you before, and we came with gifts and apologies. Divine Lei motioned to Divine Zhu, and he flew forward, cupped his hands, and bowed. I apologize for the way I acted on our first meeting. I was too excited and acted out of character. Do you think this is because I got my feelings hurt because you were rude? Wang Wei asked. You're a god, and I expect some level of arrogance and rudeness when dealing with you lots. The tension immediately intensified. The issue is you stole from me, Wang Wei added. Young Primal, there is no need to deny it. I know you did it, Wang Wei said calmly, and Divine Lei sighed. We understand how you feel, but you should also understand what that civilization means for us gods, Divine Lei said softly. Then why not build your own? Wang Wei argued. The moment you saw them, you had access to my idea. You could have built your own civilization, but you still captured my people and stole every aspect of my idea. Divine Lei's lips twitched. Who would want to go through all that trouble when there was a more straightforward approach? Again, we apologize and will compensate you for your loss. The mortal civilization will affect the world in ways you brainwashed gods cannot fathom, so I doubt your compensation is with much in hindsight. Both Divine Lei and Zhu's complexion turned ugly. I will accept your compensation since I don't spit out things that are in my stomach, Wang Wei continued. But this is far from over. Divine Lei relaxed his gritted teeth and took a deep breath to calm down. What do you want? What can we do to gain access to the trial? I understand the greater implications of blocking you from attending this trial, so I won't do that, Wang Wei uttered, making these two breathe in relief. Sadly, their relief was brief. The ticket price for your faction will be 3 times that of everybody else. What? That's outrageous. Incense, despite its flaws, is incredible power when you purify it to the limit. It does wonders for healing, existence, so I doubt you lack the resources, Wang Wei said blandly. So, take the offer or leave. You. Divine Zhu said while taking one step forward. Divine Lei stopped him by putting his arm before him. We will buy it. Happy to do business with you. Divine Lei looked at Wang Wei's back. I hope you don't regret today's decision. However, Wang Wei did not answer him. It was as if he was nothing but air. Divine Lei snorted coldly before flying away with his apprentice. The divine faith heaven, Wang Wei muttered. He was not targeting these guys because of what happened with the mortal civilization. Although Wang Wei holds grudges, he knows when to put his personal feelings aside for the greater good of the sect. He targeted them for entirely different reasons, which involved his future wife. According to his calculations, he theorized that the Origin Seal continent would be the first faction to bear the brunt of the upcoming faction. That's because Wuhong has the greatest potential and must be tested first, and her faction has the weakest foundation. Wang Wei doesn't want anything to happen to his future wife or her faction, so he decided to nudge destiny to target the weaker overlords. The decision was between the Limitless Exchange Hall and the Divine Faith Heaven, and unfortunately, the latter had offended him, so he chose it. It's unfortunate for you, but who made you weak and offended me, Wang Wei muttered. He was already thinking about how he would feed on the carcass of the Divine Faith Heaven and how he should share the spoils with his future wife to increase her faction's foundation. I should control myself, Wang Wei warned himself. No matter what, the Divine Faith Heaven is an overlord, meaning their destruction will not be a simple thing. In other words, celebrating prematurely was not a wise move. Wang Wei looked in the distance. Most of the overlords have contacted me, leaving Buddhism, Taoism, the Myriad Clan Union, and the Limitless Exchange Hall. I don't have any connection to the hall, so I wonder whether they will try to contact me. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1426 Reunions, 9. Yan Di slowly approached with what he called his patriarch's smile. Anyone who didn't know better would think he was approachable, and those who knew him could tell by his smile that he was in business mode. Come test your luck, Wang Wei said. Yan Di was perplexed by this strange request, but he still followed. He threw the rod into the pool, and a few seconds later, he detected something and pulled. A samsara talisman that can temper the mind. It seems fate is telling you something, Wang Wei commented. Is the young master dissatisfied with my actions? Yan Di asked. Not particularly, it also helped you not break the rules, Wang Wei said casually. Yan Di used his patriarch's supreme power to make the decision, and the rules stated that no one could override that power, even the sect master. He also paid many sect merit points to guarantee his lineage's spot. Do you think I shouldn't have done it? Yan Di said. Why are you here? Wang Wei asked instead of answering. I came to thank you for preserving the rules. Don't beat around the bush and say what you truly mean. Yan Di was briefly quiet. I heard you were wise and wanted your counsel. Oh. What's on your mind? Wang Wei did not care whether Yan Di was telling the truth or whether he was here to test him. However, he did not mind playing these political games to ensure his power within the sect. I know what I did was correct, but everyone else is saying or insinuating that I did something wrong, and I cannot understand why, Yan Di explained. You do understand why, you just don't want to admit it. What do you mean? Wang Wei put the rubbish catch inside his space ring before continuing. Let me ask you, do you think Ancestor Yan Hai wishes to turn the Yan clan into a sword clan? It has been her dream for many years. We have many records of her saying she wants to do so, not only for herself but to show off to the Sword Path League. Unfortunately, fate seems to have denied her wish. True, Wang Wei nodded. Instead of inheriting the Yan clan's swordsmanship talent, the Yan clan, at least the branch in the upper dimension, have inherited miscellaneous talent for professions. After seeing Yan clan's development, Wang Wei now understood that Yan Liling was not an anomaly, just a manifestation of the upper dimension Yan clan's talent. But do you think that will remain the same forever? Wang Wei asked. What do you mean? Yan Di questioned with a frown. The human fiend god bloodline has opened a crevice on whatever blockade fate has placed on the ancestor's dream, Wang Wei explained calmly. Although she chose origin as the core of the bloodline to ensure the other branches have endless possibilities, the human fiend god bloodline will exponentially increase the number of people with swordsmanship talent. Once that is established, it is only a matter of time before the sword branch becomes the Yan clan's main branch. You're fighting a losing battle, and you know it. Wang Wei glanced at him and saw the unwilling look on his face, and secretly shook his head. The human fiend god bloodline is only the first part of this process. Once Yan Hai becomes a half-step transcendent, it's a foregone conclusion that the Yan clan will become a sword Dao clan. Think it's unfair? Wang Wei asked. I wouldn't say such naive words, Yan Di replied. Then, you're wiser than I gave you credit for, Wang Wei nodded. Thank you for your guidance, but I won't stay long. Yan Di bowed politely and swiftly left. He had many things to think about. Wang Wei did not stop him as he knew another guest would appear soon. As expected, an elderly man with gray hair, a long white beard, pure black robes, a sword tattoo above his left eye, and a force and sharp aura soon arrived. You're Yan Qi, right? Come and see if your luck is better than your patriarch. Yan Qi was a quiet man, so he followed Wang Wei's instructions without much of a word. A bag of glittering metal sand? If I remember correctly, this is a great material to use for your Proving Dao artifact when it's transforming into a Paragon artifact. It seems you're a lucky individual. Primal Seed, I need to know what kind of mission our branch's Qilin's son will face if he accepts your proposal. There are too many people participating in this trial, many of whom are our enemies, Wang Wei replied truthfully. Although I'm confident the Paragon Tribulation will root out most of them, I can't leave it to chance regarding certain targets. That's where your Qilin's son comes in. Yan Qi contemplated the pros and cons of accepting this mission. Are you aware of all the protective measures Yukai will provide him? Yes. Then, why are you hesitating? Yan Jia is a peak seed that we spent a great deal of effort cultivating. We can't send in a suicide mission. Wang Wei looked at him. Are you sure you're cultivating a future peak paragon? What are you insinuating? How many true life and death battles has Yan Jia experienced? I'm not talking about trials that guarantee his rescue once he's truly in danger. I'm talking about a true battle with no safety net and one wrong move, and he's dead. Yan Qi had no rebuttal. The Tao opening sect closed its mountain throughout this entire 7-moon era, meaning its talented disciples only trained with trials perfectly curated inside the sect. Additionally, these disciples were cuddled more due to the era's political climate since the sect could not afford to lose many geniuses. So, although he did not want to admit it, Wang Wei was correct. Yan Jia was only a false peak seed without having experienced true life and death battles with no safety net. I know what to do, Yan Qi said. He realized Yan Jia needed to partake in this trial and do an excellent job with the primal seed's task, and this is not just for his future but also to prevent Yan Di from attacking his peak status because of his lack of experience. Yan Qi has already seen the lengths that Yan Di is willing to go to preserve the main branch, so he won't give the latter any more ammunition to suppress their sword branch. Wang Wei calmly watched Yan Qi leave. Besides my future wife faction with only one voice and the Qin court, the Tao opening sect is considered one of the most united factions of all the overlords. If that's considered united, how complex is the political situation in those other factions? Especially the Grand Sect Alliance, its structure is so bloated that I'm baffled how they haven't imploded from the inside yet. Wang Wei shook his head, deciding not to focus too much on that. He took a break from fishing and helped with building the garden. Once the construction finished, he enjoyed his peaceful life in this marvelous garden until his next guest arrived. Your garden is more beautiful than it used to be, said an ethereal voice. Who is this if it isn't the lovely and angelic Shi Qian? Wang Wei smiled. It's been a while. How are your parents? They're doing well, showing a little too much affection for my liking, but overall, they are happier than before, Shi Qian replied. Wang Wei did not invite her to fish but to a small pavilion in the garden where he served tea. I didn't think I would see you, Wang Wei said. The light race is doing all right for itself as their clan had a few paragons, but they were nothing extraordinary and cannot be considered peak lineages. Once they hear the news, they might send a candidate, but Wang Wei did not think it would be Shi Qian, even if they were familiar. I'm not here to represent the light race, Shi Qian said, having understood the implications of his words. Oh. The Limitless Exchange Hall, she explained. Interesting. I was just wondering about you guys, thinking how I didn't have any acquaintances connected to them, Wang Wei smiled. Shi Qian sighed. In the hall, she is not mediocre but also not excellent. After reuniting with her parents, she was satisfied with life, and cultivation became less of a priority. If not for the constant danger of the cultivation world, Shi Qian might have retired from the world and lived in isolation with her parents. I am indeed here because I know you, she admitted. On what business exactly? The hall wants to know if you would lower the price, Shi Qian stated. As you know, we have a lot of people, but resources are scarce. Many of our members want this opportunity, and we are spreading ourselves thin trying to buy tickets. To be honest, I made the price so high because of your large numbers, Wang Wei admitted. You should understand we cannot allow you to train so many paragons. Shi Qian said, I knew this would happen, and I told them that. She shook her head. Is there any way we could come up with a deal of some sort? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1427 Reunions, X. You guys have no rare resources, and your only advantage is your vast number, and that has nothing to do with me, Wang Wei commented. However, because of our friendship, I can allow their hall to exchange the tickets with things of equal value. That's good enough for me, Shi Qian said excitedly. The existence healing pill is rare enough, so it will benefit the Limitless Exchange Hall immensely if they can replace them with things of equal value. Don't get ahead of yourself, Wang Wei added. The deal is only for your hall's inner members. That's still all right, Shi Qian said after a brief hesitation. Any cultivators not associated with a faction can be considered part of the Limitless Exchange Hall, as they can come and receive missions and rewards. However, the hall has internal members that they cultivate at a young age, similar to other sects or families. Those are the inner members. Of course, outer members with enough talent can also become inner members, but they will forever bind themselves to the hall. I'm glad we could come to an understanding, Wang Wei smiled. The two chatted for a few hours before Shi Qian left. With this deal, she secured a spot for the trial and increased her status in the hall, so she left with happiness in her stride. Is there a way for me to turn the Limitless Exchange Hall into the sex cannon fodder for the upcoming catastrophe? Wang Wei was greedy, so he did not want to just survive the catastrophe but to do it with as little loss as possible, and if he could turn the hall into his own personal mercenary group, such a thing would be possible. This idea is a long shot, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, Wang Wei contemplated. The greatest value of the Limitless Exchange Hall is the trust of all loose cultivators. The overlords have tried to limit the hall's power by establishing similar groups catering to loose cultivators. With their abundant resources, the overlords should have run the hall out of business, but unfortunately, loose cultivators have one thing in common: a distrust and hatred for sects or clans. So, this approach had little impact and was ultimately considered a failure. If I can eliminate one of both of their primals and install a puppet of my own, it's possible to use that trust to access the loose cultivator base. Then, I can slowly turn them into cannon fodders with the lure of strength, power, and resources. Wang Wei frowned. This plan sounds feasible except for the part about training a primal as a puppet. Wang Wei is confident of one day being a primal, but he also understands this is a process that will take time. Furthermore, becoming a primal and cultivating another primal are two entirely different things. I still have a second spot for the revised Lord's Shadow technique. Wang Wei's eyes lit up. The technique the Shadow Ruler gave him allowed the cultivation of two shadows. I was keeping it for when I reunite with Wang Ju, but I have a feeling she may not need it. Wang Wei looked in the distance. Shi Qian was a good investment for the puppet, given their former relationship, but Wang Wei had already detected her lack of ambition or even the desire to improve. I'll observe her for a while, but it's probably best to choose another candidate. Wang Wei continued his peaceful life. He enjoyed his beautiful garden, fished, and healed his injuries. His next guest was a beautiful woman in a red dress with phoenix designs and a handsome young man with a third eye marking on his forehead and a confrontational aura. Even the woman had an air about her as if she came to fight. "You're as noble as I remember," Wang Wei praised. "And your mouth is as sweet as ever," Hu Fenghuang replied. "I'm just telling it as it is," Wang Wei rebutted. "Look, my garden is brighter just because of your presence. Tone it down, don't forget you're a married man." "Ha, who knew you had a sense of humor?" Wang Wei laughed. "Come, have a seat." "And who is this young man staring at me with daggering eyes?" "That's Wang Fushuan," Hu Fenghuang introduced. "Oh, a distant relative." "I'm not your relative," Wang Fushuan said coldly. "Quite the animosity, isn't it?" Wang Wei said calmly. "He's the most talented genius of the Wang clan in this generation, and his pride does not accept your fame and prestige has surpassed his," Hu Fenghuang said casually. "You? Best talent, you say?" "Let's see," Wang Wei glanced at him up and down. "Peak everlasting Empyrean, 10th heaven of the adult fiend god realm, limit indestructibility, 5-root Dao foundation, emperor taboo battle realm, but a failure of the Empyrean taboo battle realm despite coming close. A soul compared to 92% Paragon and a Paragon tier willpower, he's not bad indeed." Wang Fushuan looked at him with clenched hands. As soon as Wang Wei started speaking, he tried to hide all his information, but it was pointless. Those calm gray eyes seemed to be able to see all his secrets, and that idea chilled his back. "I warned you that you weren't comparable to him, but you didn't believe me," Hu Fenghuang said. Wang Fushuan glanced at her and immediately calmed down, entering a peaceful state, not perturbed by his emotions. It's almost as if his previous reaction was on purpose. "Not bad. Although still inexperienced, he has potential," Wang Wei praised. Wang Fuxuan's age was probably 100 times his, but it was true that the latter's experience paled compared to Wang Wei's measly 10,000 yuan epochs. So, what brought you here? Wang Wei asked. I came here for 2 reasons, one personal and one official, Hu Fenghuang said. Let's start with the official. Our union would like to make a deal with you. I'm listening. One of our people once attended the mortalhood trial, and so we would like to trade our information for an increase in quota and a price decrease, Hu Fenghuang stated directly. You've caught my attention, Wang Wei said. Is this information detailed enough, or are you selling the most basic information I can probably deduce myself? Although we will keep a few secrets to keep an edge, the information is detailed enough. That's good to hear, Wang Wei nodded. How many spots do you want, and how much are you willing to pay? The same as the demon race, 25 spots, and we will pay 2 pills per ticket. It seems the union's information network has its means, Wang Wei stated as he gave her a knowing glance. The contents of his deal with the demon race should have remained secrets, but there appeared to be a leak somewhere. We have our methods, Hu Fenghuang replied calmly. Wang Wei did not dwell on this news for now. I have no issue with the 25 spots, but the price has to be 4 pills. Let's agree to 3 pills and not waste time. Wang Wei chuckled, I like your directness. Well, fine by me. The two then created a contract and overviewed the fine print before each signed it, with their respective lineages' luck as a guarantee. So, what was the personal objective you mentioned? I want to fight you, Hu Fenghuang said seriously, catching Wang Wei slightly off guard. Why do you want to fight me? I know I'm not your match, but that doesn't matter, Hu Fenghuang admitted directly. I made a promise in the lower dimension to follow your footsteps all my life, even if you leave me far behind. I want to fight you to see the gap between us. Interesting, Wang Wei commented before looking at her genuinely. Huh. Even more interesting. What did you see? Hu Fenghuang asked. She has always been proud of her heavenly eye as she had pushed that technique to new heights. However, when she looked at Wang Wei, all she saw was a gray fog. She could not read any information whatsoever, so she wanted to know if he could read her. Although your cultivation is only 71%, and you have just barely opened the gate of power and achieved limit indestructibility, your battle realm seems to have reached 9-fold. More importantly, you've already found your path to the taboo battle realm. You can even see this? It's quite an ingenious approach. By fusing your 5 bloodlines to create a brand new creature, a brand new bloodline, your original bloodline will not only sublimate but, in the process, a new characteristic will be added to your existence, allowing you to tap into higher power. How did you think of this? Hu Fenghuang was briefly quiet before she sighed deeply. It came to me while I was playing with my Grand Mist Wheel. I created 5 species with my bloodline, and in the process, I thought of truly fusing them into a new and better life form. It seems fate has smiled upon you, Wang Wei nodded. I have to say, I didn't expect that out of all the others from the lower dimension, you would become the one with the highest prospect. Oh. Those words may not mean much to someone else, but Hu Fenghuang knew Wang Wei was not the kind of person to praise others for nothing, well, unless he's trying to con you. All of them seem blinded by this trial's opportunity to turn them into paragons as swiftly as possible that they neglect to establish a solid foundation. Wang Wei shook his head. The taboo battle realm cannot be achieved after missing the cultivation realm, at least, Wang Wei hasn't learned of a way to make up for it. Many of the people in his generation are incredible talents, and if you give time to learn about the battle taboo realm and spend many years researching, a few should succeed. You can't blame them, Hu Fenghuang said. They live in the end of this era where they feel powerless while also realizing the importance of becoming a paragon. It also did not help that you, of the same generation, were leagues ahead. Cultivation was never a race but a journey with the same destination, Wang Wei said wisely. If they haven't figured that out, maybe I overinflated their potential. It's easy for you to say since you're ahead of everybody and setting up impossible to achieve standards, Hu Fenghuang sighed. I never knew you thought so highly of me, Wang Wei said with a smile. Don't start with your cheekiness, Hua Fenghuang rebutted. Are we going to fight or not? Why not? Excellent, she uttered. And don't hold back. I want to see the gap. No problem. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1428 Reunions 11. The battle lasted a few hours, meaning Wang Wei did not use his full power until the end. He used his tenfold strength and taught Hua Fenghuang a few things in the process, and in the last attack, she showed her the taboo battle realm. After this battle, Hua Fenghuang left with a changed mindset. A small part of her was also in a hurry to become a paragon, but after that battle, she was prepared to leave that trial without success. She understood the importance of foundation, so her priority had been to reach that level of power before becoming a paragon. Wang Wei was satisfied with Hua Fenghuang's mindset to the point of personally escorting her out of the sect when she heard she was not staying. As for Wang Fushuan, Wang Wei did not care much. The upcoming era will make primal paragons more common, meaning Wang Fushuan has a higher chance of achieving that level. However, it won't matter unless he can catch up to the older generation and start his transcendence journey simultaneously with everyone. Wang Wei slowly flew back to his mountain, saluting a few disciples and elders who recognized him in the process. As soon as he sat on his pavilion, he took out the information talisman from the Myriad Clan Union and received the information. Wang Wei thought as he focused on two valuable pieces of information. The first was one of the most valuable things of the mortalhood trial, their entrance token. The token is rare but allows anyone to participate in the trial, even if it's not summoned. Wang Wei could foresee how many people and factions will compete for these tokens. After all, they are basically a guarantee to train a paragon at the fastest speed possible. The second valuable piece of information was a small sentence stating that there had been circumstances where anomalies occurred in the trial, forcing them to operate differently than normal. With my luck, there is an 80% chance that this anomaly will appear during this trial, Wang Wei groaned to himself. He massaged his temple, feeling a headache coming. Forget it. As long as I accomplish my objective, I can leave. After learning about the all-heaven fate calamity prophecy, he has already decided to be more low-key and start acting from the shadows. Whatever shenanigans destined to happen in the trial will have nothing to do with him, as he will not show himself much publicly. His priority is currently the lock, so in the worst-case scenario, he'll abandon everything and return home. Red Mask, Wang Wei called out, and about 10 seconds later, a shadow knelt before him. Do you have any orders? Our deal with the innate demon god was leaked. Check if it's from our side or theirs, Wang Wei stated. As you wish. Is there something? Wang Wei asked, wondering why she was still here after dismissing her. This may be out of line, but I would like to congratulate the Lord for improving his mood and becoming less depressed. Is it that obvious? Wang Wei smiled. Hua Fenghuang's visit was an unexpected pleasure. Although he never mentioned it, Wang Wei feared that he would one day outpace everybody that he knew, and the first sign of that was how much ahead he was compared to people of his generation. This fear is one of the reasons he grew even more attached to Wu Hong, as he knew she could not only keep up with him but also push him to pursue her. Hua Fenghuang's current state showed him that some of his generation could follow him far into his cultivation journey, and maybe until the end, and that fact brought him a great deal of dopamine. I appreciate the well wishes, Wang Wei nodded, and in response, Red Mask bowed before dissipating into the shadow. This is a great time to fish. Maybe my luck has improved, he muttered before flying to his little pond. As he was surrounded by all the wonderful flowers of his pond, and the beautiful artificially created starry skies above his head, Wang Wei felt peaceful and forgot the worries of his life. Finally, back to my peak, Wang Wei said as he opened his eyes. He clenched his fist, feeling the sense of power and control he had lost for a while. Now, what should I do with the previous meat puppets? Well, they are an excellent way to commit crimes without leaving traces. No, Some people might recognize them as people who were once prisoners of the sect. If Wang Wei wanted to use these meat puppets, he'd need to change their appearances first, or they may be traced back to the sect and eventually to him. Now that's decided, let's meet our guests, Wang Wei muttered. He was in deep meditation since he was close to recuperating, so his guests had to wait until he was available. Let's start with Buddhism. A strange-looking monk flew over to meet him. He's described as strange because his head is that of a child, but his body is that of a muscular man. No matter what angles someone looked at him, he looked strange. Some kind of rejuvenation technique? Wang Wei commented. Not just that. It seems to be a technique derived from the past, present, and future Buddha scroll that uses time Tao to achieve rejuvenation. What an interesting technique. Donor, saluted monk Pure Child. To what do I owe this meeting? Wang Wei was curious since he thought Buddhism had no reason to see him. He had already decreased their ticket price to 3 pills, and if the latter only wanted to pay his respect, he didn't have to wait and could have just sent a note. Donor, I have 2 messages from the Mother Buddha. Wang Wei immediately became serious and listened attentively. First, she said a few nexuses of destiny are approaching, and she wanted to warn you in case you haven't detected them. Wang Wei nodded as he felt this way. Many major events were about to happen, and he was in the center of a few, if not all of them. He was aware and prepared for the worst. Second, she said you don't need to be in a rush since you have plenty of time. Not Yuan epochs, but plenty of time nonetheless, monk Pure Child said. I see. Is that all? That's all, donor. Well, thank you for delivering the message. Pure Child bowed before leaving. Plenty of time, huh? That's good to hear. One of his fears is that Supreme Unity's comeback was sooner than expected. However, the latter's strength appeared to be at an all-time low in the Eternal Ascension world. This was good news for Wang Wei since now it was less likely for Supreme Unity to do something to the world while he was participating in the trial and unavailable. The only worry left is Time Eater, Wang Wei thought. He asked Shiyuan to watch over the latter, but he didn't know how reliable this ancestor of his is. All signs indicate he was pretty reliable, but he operated under the same assumption as Maitreya and paid with his life. Ancestor, don't blame me, blame my trauma, Wang Wei said before sending a talisman to Tong Ruobing, asking her to leave her golden body to supervise Time Eater's seal. He also granted the golden body the power to summon Sage Lin Qi's spirit if necessary. Excellent, Wang Wei muttered, feeling more at ease. Let's meet the next guest. A woman with an eye patch on her right eye flew over, and her aura was immediately off. She had the peaceful and nature-like aura of all Taoist priests, but there was also an underlying blood aura that hadn't been thoroughly washed off. Additionally, her right eye had its own dark and creepy aura. I thought you would have died in that civil war, Wang Wei said. I thought the same too, Zhenbai replied. However, here I am, alive and better than ever. Alive, yes, but better than ever? Wang Wei looked at her eye patch. He could feel a terrifying curse in that thing. A small price to pay to survive that war, she responded. The Civil War and Buddhism-Taoism war were brutal, but there were many payoffs, including the fact that Jinbiyu was now one of the core members of the surviving Taoism factions. Now, she only needs to become a paragon to solidify her position, and once the ancestors return, she will be immensely rewarded for her services. The reward should pave the way for her path to a peak paragon at the minimum or a primal at the best. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. Come, sit. Wang Wei served her tea, and as soon as she sipped it, she felt it became easier to contain the curse in her eyes. Thank you, Jinbiyu said sincerely. No problem, but you should be more careful of that curse, or it will corrode your other personality. Jinbiyu frowned. Her other personality was the primary source of her cultivation talent, so she could not let anything happen to it. I'll be more careful from now on. Wang Wei nodded. I'm guessing you're here to represent Taoism. What did they want? I'm here simply to check whether our previous leader's actions will not affect our relationship with the Tao opening sect. The fact I didn't ban you or charge you more than the others showed our feelings, Wang Wei replied calmly. That's all we hope to hear. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1429 Reunions, 12. As Wang Wei watched Jin Biyao depart, he suddenly remembered he hadn't implanted Tao seeds into his chosen Taoist and Buddhist avatars. A few of his future plans require a deep understanding of these two religious/spiritual beliefs, but he does not want to spend millions of yuan epoch studying them, so the Tao seed is his best approach. I can choose one of their participants from the trial, but the issue is Buddhism, Wang Wei thought. He did not believe his method could be hidden from Maitreya, even after improving it by including his knowledge of existence blueprint. Maybe be above board about the truth, and she might understand and allow it, Wang Wei thought. He ultimately decides to do it and allows Maitreya to choose how to respond once she discovers it. How she responds will also reveal much about her personality. Maitreya is currently on their side, but a part of Wang Wei still remained vigilant that everything was a facade. He checked his message talisman and knew he still had 2 more guests, and he was slightly surprised by the second group. Interesting. I wonder why the Grand Sect Alliance wishes to see me. Despite his curiosity, Wang Wei still saw the Great Qin Court as a small power move. So, 2 people flew into his mountain. The first person looked slightly similar, but Wang Wei could not place where he knew him. Where will I know a small and weak Tao ancestor? More importantly, why is the Qin court using him as a guide to meet me? This person must have some connection with him, but he couldn't immediately recognize him. Wang Wei did not dwell on it too much as he looked at the person behind, who was probably the true representative of this meeting. This man was the embodiment of a scholar with his clothes, feather fan, and official hat. The Qin's prime minister, Wang Wei thought. Red Mask has already handed him all the essential information he needed about all the overlords and their current leader and political structure. So, he knew much about Prime Minister Zhu Qinghuang, including the fact he was married to a Qin princess who was a direct descendant of Yingzheng. Lord Wang Wei, I wonder if you remember me, said the little Tao ancestor. Who are you? Wang Wei asked. I am Ji Honghu from Great Zhou. Oh, the traitor, Wang Wei suddenly remembered. During his supreme outlaw trial, the Great Zhou dynasty's crown prince wanted revenge for his brother, Ji Song, so he schemed with one of the ancestors to destroy the dynasty. Ji Honghu was at the core of that rebellion and successfully ascended once freed from his burden as a guardian. Wang Wei didn't remember him because his mind was occupied during the trial, and he did not pay much attention to what happened to Great Zhou since it did not affect him much. Ji Honghu was embarrassed but was also thick-skinned and would not let such words affect him. Yes, that's me. How did you get entangled with the Great Qin dynasty? I have rebuilt Great Zhou, and we are an affiliated dynasty of Qin, Ji Honghu explained. Never thought of you as the ambitious kind, but I guess I didn't know you well enough to make such an assumption, Wang Wei nodded. I reckon you're here for the court. He looked at the Prime Minister. Yes, this Prime Minister Zhu Qinghuang, he's here to represent Great Qin. After saying these words, Ji Honghu stepped aside and moved behind the Prime Minister. Young Master Wang Wei, it's a pleasure to meet you. The pleasure is all mine, Wang Wei replied calmly. But I need to stop you here. I can tell you act like a scholar, meaning you will speak in circles before you get to the point. I don't have time to waste here, so let's be as straightforward as possible. You're just as the report stated, Zhu Qinghuang smiled. Very well. I'm here to alleviate the tension between our 2 factions. Then you can start by releasing Honghua. Young master, you're wise enough to know that's impossible, Zhu Qinghuang calmly replied, and Wang Wei just looked at him. Miss Honghua is our great guest, and we are even granting her one of the spots for this trial. Oh. Wang Wei muttered before a look of realization flashed in his eyes. So, the minor Heavenly Emperor title is not enough, so you want to raise her into a paragon and have her take all the risk of raising the title to a higher level. That's not a bad plan, but aren't you afraid of losing your asset? We are not. Wang Wei glanced at him. Your calm demeanor tells me that Zheng has realized he can no longer hide what his transcendent path is to the world, so he decided to be more upfront, direct, and aggressive. Dong Tian did not do justice to the pressure of conversing with this man. Zhu Qinghuang contemplated quietly, but his facial expression remained the same. We are powerful and have been preparing for a long time, so it makes sense to be more confident and aggressive. True. So, you can understand how important she is to us, the Prime Minister continued. Alright, since you don't want to release her, what else can you do to alleviate the tension between us? The fact you charge us 7 pills per ticket and limit our numbers to 5 is unfair, so, no talking in circles. Yes. We will offer you a life dragon protection talisman in exchange for being treated fairly. Oh. Wang Wei was immediately interesting. This particular talisman was a unique resource of the Great Qin Saint Court created using their deep understanding of luck Dao. Upon activation, the talisman will release protection around a person's existence, and for an extended period, no damage can affect the existence. It's the perfect talisman for the Paragon Immeasurable Tribulation. Are you sure about this? Wang Wei asked. The value of that talisman was numerous times that of what the Qin court would have to pay for the trial's participants, even if they had a 20-place quota. Like I said, we are trying to build bridges, Zhu Qinghuang stated. I have to say, I'm surprised, Wang Wei said as he leaned back on his chair to get a better look at the man before him. I thought your dynasty's approach toward me would be less friendly. It seems you may have some misunderstanding about us or our emperor, Zhu Qinghuang replied calmly. Maybe you're right. Wang Wei had to admit he had some hidden animosity toward Zheng because he's also from Earth and the prehistoric world. He always felt this man had invaded his territory despite the fact the latter was here before him. Well, I have no reason to object to this deal, Wang Wei agreed. However, I'll say it beforehand, don't give me a shoddy product or one of those talismans that have an extremely short duration. That would contradict our intention to make peace, wouldn't it? I just wanted to be clear, Wang Wei stated. And I have one more requirement. Zhu Qinghuang frowned. Go ahead, but please do not go too far. It's nothing that important. I just want you to establish a meeting between Honghua and her wife. You can be in charge of the entire operation, and I won't interfere, but make sure nothing happens to Hua Shui. That can be arranged, Zhu Qinghuang agreed without an issue. They need to give Honghua enough hope so she does not compromise their plans, and this meeting can help immensely. Excellent. Let's get everything in writing, Wang Wei nodded before proceeding with the next step of signing a binding contract. Once everything was established, he did not escort them out but calmly watched them depart. That bastard Ji Honghu is truly unfortunate, Wang Wei thought while shaking his head. After hearing some of Qin's greatest secrets, this guy will not live for long. Under normal circumstances, Zhu Qinghuang might be merciful and only erase his memory, but sadly, the information he learned involved Zheng's path of transcendence. Although Qin has decided to be bolder, that does not mean a little Dao ancestor ant can spy on their secrets. Forget him, Wang Wei thought as his mind shifted to something more substantial. I forgot about the Yama kings. These bastards despise me, so I doubt they would feel any less about Zheng. So, unless he plans to make an enemy out of them, it's futile for him to pursue the Earth Emperor position. However, it's another story if he uses Honghua as a proxy. If Honghua is this valuable to Great Qin, it might be impossible to save her and turn her against them. There is also the fact that she was the perfect experiment subject to test whether his transcendent path was feasible. Honghua already has 3 of the positions, so Zheng only needs to grant her the 3rd using Shu Ren's Nether Hell and experiment on her to deduce a feasible transcendent cultivation technique. Zheng has become a greater threat in the race for transcendence, Wang Wei summarized with squinted eyes. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know your report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1430 Reunions, 13. Wang Wei invited his next guest, and the leading person was an old acquaintance. It would be better to describe him as an old opponent, one of the few worthy ones he had in the lower dimension. Wang Wei slowly watched as the two flew over to his small pavilion, and he glanced at the introducer. "You're weak," Wang Wei said. "Indeed," Chu Luo sighed deeply. In the lower dimension, they were once the two once most powerful geniuses of that era, but slowly, he had to watch as Wang Wei surpassed and reached heights he could never fathom. Wang Wei looked at him. Chu Luo's cultivation was only 63%, not even an Empyrean. However, with a single look, Wang Wei could guess the reason such a genius could not even reach the peak of the Emperor realm. "Do you regret your decision to ascend early?" Wang Wei asked. "Not at all," Chu Luo replied firmly. After ascending, he discovered his parents were undercover agents for the Grand Sect Alliance serving in the rebellion. Things went horribly wrong in one mission, and they were severely injured. Chu Luo's cultivation is so low because he had no merit and world source from the lower dimension since he ascended early and because he had to support his parents' healing and cultivation. The Grand Sect Alliance is the biggest faction, meaning they have the most elite members of all overlords and the second highest number of people after the Limitless Exchange Hall. Chu Luo's creation Dao brought him much benefit in the alliance, but it did not help that he was not a Dao overlord. As such, he was treated decently but not enough to develop his potential fully. "That's good to hear," Wang Wei nodded. It appeared Chu Luo's filial piety was still a core of his personality. Wang Wei condensed a fishing rod and said, "Go fish on that pond. Consider what you catch as a gift from an old opponent." Chu Luo was confused but still politely accepted the gift. Meanwhile, Wang Wei focused on the second guest. "You're a member of the Crystal Eye clan?" he asked when he saw this man had no eyeballs but two pure blue gems in his sockets. "That's right. I thought your kind was extinct," Wang Wei commented. The crystal in this race's eyes had a variety of functions, including weapon refining, soul tempering, and even acquiring divine abilities upon absorption. So, cultivators did what cultivators do, they hunted this race to extinction for their eyes. "We surrendered to the Alliance to preserve our race," the man replied. Although his voice did not change, Wang Wei could swear he saw a hint of anger and hatred flashed in these deep blue gems. He motioned the latter person to sit beside him as he served tea. "And who are you exactly?" Wang Wei asked. "Vice Alliance leader Lei Shi." "You're the invisible one," Wang Wei realized. The Alliance is ruled, on the surface, by a council composed of the Alliance leader and 7 vice leaders. In this generation, one of the vice leader rarely showed his face, making many people curious. Now, he understood why the latter remained invisible. "That's me," Lei Shi nodded calmly. "So, why are you here?" "I don't think I have any reasons to associate with your alliance." These meetings were never about paying respects to him, so he was baffled by what they wanted since Wang Wei did not place any restrictions on the alliance despite the rocky relationship between the two factions. "There is a delicate matter we would like to negotiate with you," Lei Shi said carefully. "You have captured one of our wanted fugitives, and we would like to discuss the possibility of you returning him to us." "Your fugitive?" Wang Wei was genuinely baffled. "Empyrean Black Heart." "Him? Since when was he your prisoner?" Wang Wei asked strangely. "He stole something crucial from us, and you know how pride and face are the most important to factions on our level," Lei Shi stated. "So, we buried the news while trying to capture him as soon as possible. Unfortunately, he was slippery and always evaded our efforts." "Is that so?" Wang Wei commented. Lei Shi looked at him, trying to glean any information from his facial expression, but to no avail. Regardless, he continued with his objective. "We understand you're the one who captured him, so we're prepared to reward you for handing him over." Wang Wei sipped his tea. He did not believe a single word out of this man's mouth. The previous Grand Sect Alliance might have been able to hide such a significant event, but that was simply impossible in the 7 Moon era. Furthermore, as soon as this man named Empyrean Black Heart, Wang Wei had an inkling of what they were after, the Desire Heart Palace. The question is whether the Grand Sect Alliance has any connection to the Desire Heart Palace or wanted Black Heart because they are desperate for a transcendent path and thought they could peek at the palace's secrets through him. Wang Wei leaned more toward the latter since all the information he knew about their leader, Dugu Badian. He did not seem like the kind of person who would submit to anyone. No, he would not serve under anyone. After all, this was a man whose name can be translated literally as the lone white heaven. Such pride, arrogance, and ambition will not submit to anyone. It's not impossible for me to trade with you, Wang Wei said, and he meant it. After acquiring his blueprint technique, he checked Blackheart's situation, and the resolve scared him a little. His intuition told him something was there, but he saw nothing, no matter how carefully he looked. Ultimately, he concluded the power used by the Heart Desire Palace was not something his current self could peek at. This also meant Blackheart was now a hot potato, and Wang Wei wanted to throw it to someone else. "I'm glad to hear this," Lei Shi stated, not hiding his excitement. "Our alliance has prepared a handsome reward for your cooperation." "Slow down your excitement," Wang Wei raised his hand. "I'm willing to exchange, but it cannot be now." "What do you mean?" Lei Shi asked, his demeanor suddenly changing. "It's just like I said, I still need him for something, so I cannot hand him over now," Wang Wei reiterated. He still wanted to recheck Blackheart after becoming a Paragon. More importantly, if he traded him now, the Grand Sect Alliance would only treat him as an Empyrean, and their reward wouldn't be much. However, once Wang Wei reveals his status as a member of the Heart Desire Palace and the fact they need him for their transcending path, he can get a higher price. "Young Master Wang Wei, why make this harder than it has to be? Blackheart has no value in your hands, so why not exchange it for some rare resources?" Lei Shi said calmly, but his voice contained a slight coldness. "Are you worried about your lost treasure?" Wang Wei replied calmly. "You can tell what it is, and I'll fetch it for you. This involves our alliance secret, so we cannot do that. Aren't you guys worried I'll take the treasure after you reveal its existence? Well, you don't have to since I'm willing to hand it over directly now to facilitate a better relationship for our future trade." Lei Shi's lips twitched. "It would be in our best interest to take Blackheart back and retrieve our treasure ourselves." "It seems this treasure is more valuable than I thought," Wang Wei commented. "How about this? Although a bit invasive, I'm willing to sign the highest binding contract to erase my memories of all knowledge about this treasure. This should satisfy you, correct?" "This." Lei Shi was momentarily speechless, but Wang Wei only smiled. "Have you realized your eagerness has revealed too much information?" he stated. Lei Shi took a deep breath, calming himself down. "He seems to be contemplating or weighing something." "Don't even try to use your eye ability that can twist people's will," Wang Wei warned. "Otherwise, your fate will be the same as your clan brethren." Lei Shi felt a chill down his spine, followed by a tinge of pain in his eyes. "What do you want?" he asked directly. "Like I said, I'm not opposed to selling him, but you have to wait after the trial and pay something that truly reflects his value." Wang Wei has already calculated Blackheart's value to the Alliance was comparable to a few rare Paragon resources, and if he pushed it, maybe even some valuable information about transcendence. However, he also had to sell it before the catastrophe since his value would deteriorate with more transcendent-related things appearing. "Are you sure you want to do this? Is this supposed to be some kind of threat?" Wang Wei laughed. "Very well," Lei Shi said as he took a deep breath. "I will relay your requirements, and we will contact you in the future." Lei Shi stood up and left with Chu Luo, who did not forget to thank Wang Wei for the gift. He fished out a pill that was excellent at breaking the Empyrean realm bottleneck. With this pill and the reward for introducing the alliance to Wang Wei, Chu Luo had enough resources to reach the Empyrean peak. Unfortunately, Hell missed the trial, meaning Hell still be behind his peers. "It may not be such a bad thing that you're currently behind," Wang Wei thought as he watched them fly away. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know it report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1431 Reunions, Finale. I now understand why the upcoming catastrophe targets the overlords. After ruling the world for so long, all of them have become arrogant, prideful, and corrupt, Wang Wei thought. Why do loose cultivators hate clans and sects? It's not just because they hoard all the wealth but also because dealing with their members is a nightmare due to their overinflated pride and ego. I bet the decadence of the Golden Era started before the ultimate taboo. Better yet, the taboo should have been the solution to this problem, Wang Wei analyzed. Sadly, the taboo failed, and the subsequent era became an opportunity to suppress these overlords' arrogance and pride. Sadly, they did not respect any of the moon's rules, so they just buried that pride until things returned to normal. Wang Wei reckoned that even if Time Eater were not present, Heavenly Tao would have weeded out the overlords before the start of the Transcendent Era. It seems class solidification is bad for development in any world. Wang Wei shook his head before returning to his peaceful life. Now that he had met all the overlords, he had no more meetings and could focus on enjoying the few hundred years. Wang Wei was glad he recreated his garden or started fishing again, as the peaceful environment did soothe his loneliness somehow. However, he was wrong, as he had a few more unexpected guests. I didn't expect to see you until the trial, Wang Wei said as he stood up from his fishing spot. I wanted to come sooner, but I was finishing some last-minute training, Ji Lanfang said. He summoned 2 gourds, and Wang Wei noticed that both his arms were slightly brown. Wang Wei was even more surprised after checking his existence. This wine is called Sword Strike, try it. Wang Wei caught the battle and took a sip. He immediately felt the effect. His spirit entered an empty space and started battling countless swordsmen. For a moment, Wang Wei experienced the pride and heroism that his father and all swordsmen often boast about, and he understood why these men loved their weapons more than their wives. He still thought it was stupid, but he understood. Great wine, he commented. If he were a swordsman and of lower cultivation, this would be a supreme wine for training and improving his strength. It is, isn't it? Ji Lanfang smiled as he sat down next to him. Your father, he's fine, right? All I know is he's alive, Wang Wei sighed. After ascending, I've met countless great swordsmen, but none can click with me as your father, Ji Lanfang complained. It would be terrible to lose such a friend. I understand that sentiment, Wang Wei nodded. He and Li Jun just clicked after that fateful meeting when they were children. The only person he had felt this way toward was Su Shi. Still, their different factions made it impossible for their relationship to develop genuinely. Since they were not as pure as those swordsmen, their conversation usually had too many underlying things, especially after ascending. The two chatted for a few minutes, reminiscing about their experience with Wang Tian. Wang Wei even learned some things about his father that he previously did not know, realizing that while he had his own adventure, his father had a life outside of being his father. Wang Wei, after allowing himself to get a little tipsy, asked, "Are you here for the power of nothingness?" I knew I couldn't hide it from you, not as I was trying in the first place, Ji Lanfang nodded as he showed his 2 arms, which were a bronze color compared to his fair skin on the other parts. My sword has only one purpose, absolute speed. However, if I want to achieve that, I cannot have any resistance when I slash. Ji Lanfang stabbed his finger in the air, and he was so fast most people would not notice he had moved in the first place. I've conquered resistance, inertia, matter resistance, space-time resistance, and even countless other conceptual resistance, leaving only nothingness. Only when my sword can move in an area of absolute nothingness can I reach the speed I want. But nothingness is a bitch, and every time you swing your sword, you lose your arm, Wang Wei commented. Exactly, Ji Lanfang nodded. I was inspired by you and changed my body refining method to adapt slowly to the power of nothingness. Surprisingly, it allowed me to enter the Emperor Taboo battle realm, so I figured I could do the same in the Empyrean realm. Unfortunately, I underestimated that power when I tried, almost killing myself. That's understandable, Wang Wei replied as he raised his hand to condense a talisman with his knowledge about nothingness. Thank you, Ji Lanfang nodded as he carefully put it away. I have prepared a great gift for your father. And if you ever need help tracking him down, don't hesitate to call. No problem. Ji Lanfeng eventually left, but Wang Wei had a smile on the corner of his mouth. I thought Wu Fenghuang had the most potential, but it seems I was wrong. I wonder who would win between them. This was hard to determine. Although Ji Lanfeng's foundation is deeper since he entered the taboo in the Emperor realm, the actual value of the battle realm will only manifest in the transcendent realm. It's a kind of foundation or preparation for that stage. Ji Lanfeng's attack potency is higher, but Wu Fenghuang has versatility with all 5 unique bloodlines. However, Ji Lanfeng now follows the ultimate sword path, meaning he no longer has the flaw of a weak body. Meanwhile, Wu Fenghuang's cultivation is 1% higher than his, and given how close their other attributes or stats are, it's enough to make a difference in this scenario. On paper, a battle between these two looked 50-50, but if Wang Wei had to bet, he would bet on Wu Fenghuang, and that's because of their battle experience. He could tell from his battle with her that she had pushed herself in her training, experiencing countless battles, even life and death, in the past 10,000 yuan epochs. Meanwhile, Ji Lanfeng's aura tells me his battles were mostly learning experiences. He has probably fought countless swordsmen but only to absorb the essence of their sword Dao to complement his. So, in a life and death battle, Wang Wei would put his money on Wu Fenghuang. Everything can happen, so they might fight during the catastrophe. Wang Wei smiled as he continued his rest. However, a little over 5 years later, he received a request from another unexpected guest. Is he trying to ask for compensation? Wang Wei's lips twitched before accepting the request. Old Ma, how have you been? Wang Wei asked while checking the latter's bloodline to see if he was related to the Ma clan. Sadly, they only had the same name. It's a shame. I could have claimed Malikius reward immediately after the trial. I'm not here for your sweet words, Old Ma said directly without even sitting down. You gutted our rebellion, leaving nothing but crumbs. The Lord sent me to get recuperation. Alright, we're old friends, so why are you saying things to ruin that? Wang Wei said as he poured out the tea. However, Old Ma refused to sit down or drink. You should be here for the trial, right? I'll offer you 3 free spots. Only 3? What do you mean only 3? Wang Wei argued. That's 3 future paragons, that's 3 spots that your broke lord cannot afford. Old Ma's face turned red. He wanted to argue and yell, but he was telling the truth. Paragon Jimin was new, which also means he was broke. He came so late because they were trying to accumulate the wealth for the tickets, but they failed. Luckily, Old Ma's face was thick, so he quickly recovered. After everything you've done, you only give us 3 spots. Aren't you ashamed? What have I done? Wang Wei asked with pure and innocent eyes. Those men I took wanted to follow me since your leader was absent. You can't blame me for that. You. Old Ma never thought he would meet someone more shameless than him. What about what you did to our leader? You mean saving his life? You bastard. Don't play innocent, you could have saved him instead of forcing him to cast that curse. The situation was complex, and I realized the only way for him to escape was death. I just ensure he was a normal death instead of a true death, Wang Wei argued. In fact, he should thank me since I made his death worth something. Didn't he receive some luck for assisting in eliminating one of 5 Feather's lives? You have an answer for everything, don't you? Old Ma said with gritted teeth. I don't lie, so I usually have an answer for everything, Wang Wei boldly lied. Old Ma almost exploded. 3 is not enough, he nearly yelled. 3 is quite generous, Wang Wei countered. And tell Jimin that he owes me for saving his life. Wang Wei did not previously use any karmic threat after saving Jimin since he did feel a little bad, but now, he blatantly used it in front of Old Ma. You. Trying to take advantage of me? You're 1,000 yuan epoch too young, Wang Wei thought. Alright, you have overstayed your welcome. Tell Jimin to choose his candidates wisely since he should understand how terrifying the Paragon Tribulation is. Old Ma's demeanor suddenly changed as he bowed to Wang Wei. As you wish. Life is truly like a play, and the best actors are the winners, Wang Wei murmured as he watched Old Ma fly away. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1432 The Trials Entry. Is it already time? Wang Wei thought as he slowly opened his eyes from his quick meditation. He stood up and stretched his body for a few seconds before leaving the room to see Red Mask waiting for him. Ready? He asked. Everything is settled. Good. Wang Wei walked away, and Red Mask turned into a shadow and blended with Wang Weiss. Wang Qi was already waiting outside. I'll leave everything else to you. Patriarch, you know I'm reliable. During the remaining rest time, Wang Wei took the opportunity to officially become the Wang clan's sect master. He did everything quietly and covertly, and only a few people knew of this sudden change in power. Wang Wei has already started executing his low-key motto, so he will only meet all the upper echelons of the Wang clan after becoming a paragon. For now, the position will increase his chances of passing the immeasurable tribulation. I know, Wang Wei nodded before flying out of his mountain range, where 10 people were awaiting his presence. He did not interfere with these clan selection process, so this was the first time he met these people. Only 2 of them can be described as exceptional by my standards, Wang Wei thought. All these people were peak Empyreans, and some were double refiners with body refining achievements. However, only 2 of them had something unique about them. The first one is the heir of the Su clan, Su Dandan. Besides the Wang clan and the sectarian faction, who are hotspots of all kinds of talents, all the other clans have their own niche or expertise. The Su clan is a family of body refiners, and Su Dandan inherited her clan's legacy. She was slightly muscular, distinguishing her aesthetics from the general norm for women in the cultivation world. However, her muscular frame brought a different kind of beauty, the kind that appreciated the female form in all its glory, especially since she wore blue tight-fitting martial clothes. Her hair was shoulder-length, and her body naturally released heat and excessive yang energy. Such a terrifying blood energy, Wang Wei thought. Wang Wei found her cultivation technique fascinating. The simplest way to explain it was that she infinitely stacked her blood qi. A better way to describe it is that she used a cultivation technique that trained blood qi with only 10 levels and cultivated it to level 10 billion and above. It was simple, crude, but highly effective. In some ways, her cultivation approach is the purest form of body refining, Wang Wei commented. No body refiners can escape tempering their blood qi in their cultivation's early or middle journey. However, blood qi will eventually be changed to something else or evolve to a higher power, but it is still the essence. Wang Wei shifted his gaze to the second person with potential, Xia Xiaoli. The Xia family's expertise is assassination and espionage powered by Shadow Dao. Xia Xiaoli did not forget that as he forged his own path. The unique thing about him is that he used his grand mist to create a large world with only shadow energy and creatures. He then connected that world to the source chi space, allowing him an infinite amount of shadow energy to boost his techniques and divine abilities. He has basically abandoned using his grand mist world to cultivate any subordinates, as all the shadow lives exist only to absorb or sacrifice when he needs a boost in battle, Wang Wei analyzed. He must admit that this Xia Xiaoli was dedicated to the way of assassin and the way of shadow. He glanced at the others but did not catch anything unexpected. I know your elders have already warned you, but I will do it again to demonstrate the importance of this warning. Be careful with the Paragon Tribulation, because if you die, no peak Paragon will waste their time rebuilding your existence. Dying in the Tribulation is an event close to achieving true death. The only way to revive someone who failed their Paragon Tribulation is for a peak Paragon to spend at least 1,000,000 yuan epochs rebuilding their existence. No Paragon wants to waste their time, especially when people who have been revived will have 100 times harder passing the tribulation a second time. So, unless they are family or loved, few people will put the effort into reviving those who fail in their tribulation. It seems you understand. Good, in that case, let's go. Wang Wei flew into the trial's designated mountain. He passed through a dimensional barrier that isolated the ample internal space of this mountain. The group found themselves in a green plain with countless magical circles floating above their heads. Everyone had already arrived, and their presence garnered much attention. Wang Wei looked around, and most of the people he expected to come were here, with a few surprises. Chu Luo was not there, but Shi Qian came. Furthermore, he saw the Golden Sword Emperor amongst the Sword Path League people. He also saw the current ruler of the Southern Chu dynasty, also known as the Third Prince. The latter wanted to see Wang Wei, but he declined. Since everyone is here, we can now begin, said a deep, coarse voice. Remember, do not resist what is going to happen. The magic circles in the air activated, followed by a dragon roar. All the participants' chi luck manifested, including Wang Wei, who had hidden its unique qualities. The chi luck dragons rushed into the sky, forming a beautiful sight of thousands of multicolored dragons swimming between heaven and earth. Then, the dragons released chains that embedded themselves into the void. The dragon roared as they pulled something from the unknown. Everyone felt a slight tremor but saw nothing change in the sky until a bright silver gate hung above everybody's head. The operation has been successful, the deep voice stated. Be mindful that the surrounding area of the River of Time is turbulent, so it may be best to protect your great emperors in case something goes wrong. The great emperors were immediately embarrassed, but it couldn't help that they were at the bottom of this team. However, no one flew to the gate despite the voice's words. Instead, countless eyes secretly looked at the Dao opening sex team. Wang Wei understood these people's mentality, so he did not comment and just flew with his team toward the gate. He sensed a subtle void fluctuation before the team found themselves in this infinite white space with nothing in sight, including a single speck of matter. Wang Wei and everyone else was confused before a spirit about an arm's length in height materialized before everyone. Can everyone hear me?" the spirit said, his voice audible to all the participants. "I am Sir Lu, the spirit controlling this trial. Due to unexpected events, your world forcefully summoned us, making everything chaotic." He let his words simmer for a few seconds. "We were in the process of landing in a chosen world, and we will continue doing so, meaning you have to wait before the other participants arrive to begin the mortalhood trial." After saying these words, Sir Lu did not wait for anyone and disappeared from this place. "I knew it," Wang Wei thought. "However, this will complicate things. The presence of other chaos worlds will have countless implications, many of which were the last thing he wanted. Let's take precautions. All eyes on me," Wang Wei said before raising his hand to separate them into an isolated dimension away from any prying eyes. The presence of other chaos worlds can be devastating to the Eternal Ascension world, so we must take some precautions. Wang Wei did not let them process his words as he started his action. He used his time Dao to summon a projection of the River of Time. Then, from the river, he condensed a yellow rope of time energy, and with a thought, a lock attached itself. He waved his hand, and the rope flew before every participant, followed by a lock. Many people wanted to resist this strange spell or technique, but as soon as they tried something, they felt a chill down their spine as an intense killing intent locked them. "This is not enough," Wang Wei muttered before summoning the River of Fate and intertwining strings to the rope. The next step was to invoke a Paragon artifact to bless the lock on the rope. This rope symbolizes our world's information and history, your information and history. Those of you who are aware of what's going on should understand what length these foreign chaos worlds will go to get news on the current situation of the Eternal Ascension world. The faces of the people who haven't figured out what Wang Wei meant changed drastically. They understand what kind of danger they may face in this trial. The only people who remained clueless were the loose cultivators who did not know anything outside of their home world. "If you have a Paragon artifact, bless the lock to ensure our information is secure," Wang Wei ordered. A few people hesitated, but the ones who understood the bigger picture did not hesitate. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1433. The trial begins. These geniuses, no, powerhouses, no longer hesitated as they summoned their Paragon artifact to bless this history timeline lock, ensuring their privacy had the highest level of protection. You. Wang Wei said, pointing at 12 people. I know you have an artifact. Don't waste people's time. The people chosen had an ugly expression, wondering how this bastard knew such information. One of them, an ordinarily dressed scholar, who remained calm after Wang Wei's accusation, smiled before saying, Lord Wang Wei, not all of us are lucky to be from a powerful faction. Possessing a Paragon artifact is a luxury that many cannot afford. Wang Wei glanced at him and immediately knew this was a two-faced scholar. Although he appeared kind and approachable, the hidden stink of blood on his body could not be hidden from his senses. Wang Wei did not say another word. He did not mention that just by coming in contact with a Paragon artifact, these people's existence had some lasting traces even if the artifact's aura had long been erased. The two-faced scholar felt a terrifying pressure weighing on him. He felt his intestines and his soul were being squeezed together. What's the meaning of this? He yelled, trying to rally more attention toward him. However, instead of backing off, Wang Wei became more blatant as his killing intent manifested to suppress him. The scholar opened his mouth to say something, but the pressure was too much. He had a feeling that if he pushed his luck, he would die. Mer, sigh, he uttered with difficulty, and Wang Wei decreased the pressure. The scholar did hesitate to summon his greatest trump card, a hairpin with a few broken spots. With gritted teeth, the scholar blessed the timeline. The other 11 learned from his mistake and did not try their luck, so the process soon ended. It's still not enough, Wang Wei muttered before pointing at the floor to manifest a magical circle and a small altar. His Chi Luck dragon materialized before shrinking to a size small enough to rest on the altar. Wang Wei clasped his hand and bowed 90 degrees. Heaven and earth above, I would not contact you if the fate of our world were not on the line. I besieged you to manifest in this humble dimension. All the participants felt a terrifying will descend on this place, and they knew who it was, Heavenly Tao. Luckily, it did not fully materialize in one-eye shape, or many couldn't bear the pressure. Wang Wei was an anomaly, that's why he had so many encounters with Heavenly Tao and Grand Tao. For most of these cultivators, the closest they've come to Heavenly Tao is when facing tribulations. Some don't even know Heavenly Tao's true form of one eye. Please, protect our information from being leaked, Wang Wei stated. Then, he discovered a second anomaly when observing a handsome young man who screamed that cockiness and, acting like a young master, were his personality. Not only was Wang Wei unable to read his existence, he felt a terrifying sense of danger from this man. Although it was fleeting, the danger was present, and it was overwhelming, Wang Wei thought. No, it was too overwhelming to be coming from an Empyrean. Even if it was a Paragon, I doubt it would be so intense. He squinted his eyes, trying to think of this person's identity. Wang Wei moved his eyes to stop at a blind old woman dressed in pure black. He immediately detected the power of fate around her and decided her identity from this, the all-seeing temple. I did the right thing to hide my information. The few anomalies have proven this trial will be an annoyance, and their presence further reinforced Wang Wei's decision to remain low-key and act from the shadows. Wang Wei observed and analyzed. For a moment, he thought there would be no more surprise until the last person passed through the portal. A man more handsome than words could describe slowly flew from the gate. His pure white clothes, a symbol of his etherealness and purity, floated with the hair, along with his long, luscious, black hair. Dao rhymes followed him, and upon observation, everyone could tell this was not a show, but the laws of heaven and earth simply loved this man to such an extent. All eyes were on this man, including Wang Wei, but he stared for an entirely different reason. The moment he laid eyes on this bastard, he sensed a natural repulsion, followed by a thread of fate he never discovered connecting them. Wang Wei immediately knew their life was destined to intertwine whether he wanted to or not. My destined enemy, the son of Grand Tao, Wang Wei figured out. What the hell is going on? However, he immediately had an answer after asking himself, Grand Dao was trying to stop his rise before he reached the level of becoming a genuine problem. In other words, I'm once again fucked by my future self, Wang Wei groaned internally. He wanted to curse, but since this was not the first time, he was calmer this time. Sir Lu had appeared, meaning it was time for this trial to begin officially. Can everyone hear me? Good, Sir Lu nodded. We have amassed a tremendous amount of destiny, so we decided to raise the stake of the trial. There it is, Wang Wei complained. However, before we begin, I should give anyone who so wishes a chance to decline their participation, Sir Lu continued. Once you enter, the only way to leave is to become a paragon or meet stringent requirements that you would probably die before accomplishing. He let his words simmer while giving the participants their last chance to save their lives. However, everyone present was the elites among elites, so they knew the risk of coming here and would not cower now in the face of danger. Even if someone wishes to, they can't back down now in the presence of their peers. This is not the time to let pride rule your decision, Sir Lu warned, but his words had no effect. Well, it's your choice. He snapped his finger, and everyone teleported to another location. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know each report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1434 The trial's rules. As soon as they arrived at the destination, no one had the time to look around as they sensed their bodies experiencing a tremendous change. Many people immediately sat down cross-legged to check this change, Wang Wei included. Most people failed to detect anything. If they did, it was only surface level. But Wang Wei saw everything. He saw how an unknown power directly suppressed all the characteristics in his existence that granted him his eternal lifespan before squeezing these characteristics for an unknown pure energy that is divested into the ground. Is this trial some kind of secret plot to steal people's power? Wang Wei thought. Such thought stopped him from enjoying the superb application of existence that this trial just exerted. It doesn't make sense. Only a powerful half-step transcendent could make such a trial, and the power from these Empyreans should be nothing to them even if it has been storing it for ages. Wang Wei kept his skepticism, but he did not make any conclusions. He continued observing the process, trying to record and learn from it as much as possible. I have 10 million years of lifespan left, Wang Wei thought as he opened his eyes to observe everyone. It appeared he was the highest, if you don't count the people he could not read, and the smallest amount he detected was 1,200 years. The process was not random but based on the individual's foundation and how developed their existence is. He doesn't look too happy. It seems his lifespan is not much. Although he could not read any information from the cocky young master, the latter did a terrible job of hiding his emotions. How is everyone doing? Sir Lu said with a smile as his voice spread to every corner. However, no one was in the mood to share his jovial enthusiasm. Now that you have acclimated to the environment, let me introduce the rules, Sir Lu continued. You are now in the residential area, and it's also the safe zone. No fighting and killing is allowed here. Everyone looked around, and nothing was nearby besides a few enormous towers in the distance. It appeared they needed to build their own accommodations. Outside that barrier is the hunting area, divided into 2 levels, Sir Lu continued. The hunting area contained a creature unique to our trial called the bestowal monster. Level 1 hunting area contained Empyrean tier creatures and level 2 for paragons. Everyone listened attentively, not wanting to miss a single word. Hunting creatures is everything in this trial, Sir Lu smirked. You want to cultivate? Hunt monsters. You want to increase your lifespan? Hunt monsters. You want a token to allow other members of your faction to enter the trial without being summoned? Hunt monsters. Many people frowned as this was not what they expected from this trial. However, Sir Lu was not about to explain or alleviate their concerns. There are a few rules when hunting. You cannot summon your elders or power beyond your capabilities unless it is to save yourself. However, Be warned, we can exile you from this trial if you go too far. You can use artifacts higher than your realm, but puppets are not allowed, unless you refine them yourselves. Sir Lu did not care about these people's complaints. He waved his hand, and a token appeared in everybody's hands. Every monster killed will reward a certain amount of points based on their individual strength, and the token will record your current and accumulative points, both important, Sir Lu continued. Points will be used in the towers over there. Everyone looked at the towers. There are 8 towers. The Dao Tower will make understanding the Grand Dao source easier and help break bottlenecks. You are allowed to use the resources you brought for additional boosts. The Soul Tower will make it easier to build a Paragon soul. The Heart Tower will allow you to experience samsara to cultivate your mind and willpower. You can also stimulate the time-erasing tribulation and read about the experience of former trial takers. The Luck Tower will help you achieve White Chi Luck Dragon. The Tribulation Tower is where you underwent your transformation. The tower can accelerate the time of your tribulations while minimizing the backlash. A Paragon tribulation can be as fast as a few million years to a few yuan epochs, so the participants understood the need for this tower. The Essence Tower is for all the indestructible Empyreans. This tower has everything you need to reach higher levels, including cultivation techniques and the experience of former participants. The Life Tower is where you heal your injuries after hunting or after the tribulation. Of course, like everything else, it's accelerated. Lastly, it's the Battle Tower. This is where you fight for honor or wager your trial points. The top 100 will receive rewards in the form of points, and I will tell you a little secret. The Battle Tower is the only place besides hunting where you can receive other rewards like a life increase or trial token. However, to do so, you must have an unbeatable fighting record or stay at the top spot for an extended period. These participants' eyes shone brighter than the sun. They are the darling of their worlds, always competing to be the best. Now, they can prove they are better than people in other chaos worlds. There is also the fact that winning a battle is the best way to take people's destiny and increase theirs. In other words, the Battle Tower can replace the Luck Tower, saving them points. I'm glad you're excited, but there is more, Sir Lu chuckled. He snapped his finger, and 2 scrolls appeared above the towers, one of them explicitly located above the Battle Tower. Remember when I said your accumulated points mattered? Sir Lu asked. The first list will keep records of the top 100 participants with the most points. He could easily break the bottleneck by removing the seals in his sea of consciousness that contained his previous epiphanies or knowledge nourishment, but it would be a terrible waste to use them now. The energy released from the cushion transformed as it nourished Wang Wei's body and soul, making the comprehension of the Grand Dao source easier than addition and subtraction. Time flowed like a river, and on Wang Wei's 97th year staying in the Dao Tower, he heard a breaking sound, followed by a drastic increase in aura. His understanding had reached 90%. He opened his eyes and immediately controlled the joy he felt. He was not a paragon yet, this was just a great turn in that direction. It's almost time to leave, so let's check how many points I have left, Wang Wei thought, and he immediately wanted to curse. These vampires, he uttered with gritted teeth. These towers did not only require an entrance fee, every minute spent inside burned points like crazy. Wang Wei only stayed for 97 years. And 3/4 of the points he had were gone. This is just daylight robbery, he complained. Now that he understood this place's cost, he wouldn't waste a second. 3 years wasn't enough to make any meaningful improvement, so Wang Wei chose to study the unique power of this trial. He observed how it influenced his existence, hoping he could recreate it. No, he would be satisfied with a copy with 1/4 of the effect. Time flies when you focus intensely on a task. As soon as the 100th mark arrived, he received notifications he was no longer the number one and had to vacate the first room. Wang Wei chose to leave the tower, meaning he did not bump into Tian Xian. The first thing he did outside was send more meat puppets to hunt since the previous batch had already collapsed. He hadn't received any reports from Red Mask or Yen Jia, so he flew directly into the Essence Tower and took the first room. Damn it to hell, I've been hunting for over 100 years, and am still ranked third, Ji Changming cursed as he waved his hand to annihilate the mountain range before him. However, such destruction could not quell his wrath, so he attacked more ferociously. Unfortunately for him, the trial greatly limited the destructive capabilities of even peak Boundless Paragons, let alone him. Don't these bastards know who I am? He yelled as he continued his path of destruction. Ji Changming was already on edge when he realized he might fail his mission to get information about the Eternal Ascension world due to a stupid lock on these people's bodies and souls, but now, he was humiliated by ranking third. How can he explain this failure to the Palace Master? How much jeering will he receive from his clan members and competitors? He could not accept this. No, he refused to accept. As he floated in the void with his face red out of anger, Ji Changming suddenly opened his palm to receive a talisman. The Plum Daoist entered the Essence Tower. Chapter 1440 Boundless Paragon 3, Unexpected Visitor. Wang Wei continued his walk. His mind was temporarily free from the mechanical task of preserving his emotions, so he looked around, thinking about this test. An idea suddenly flashed in his mind, but it was too quick, and he did not immediately catch up. Wang Wei was about to focus on realizing whatever inspiration was coming, but something unexpected occurred that required his attention. "It's you. Long time no see," said a young man with the same visage as Wang Wei, except with a natural smirk and evil aura surrounding him. "Aren't I too old to be having Heart Devil?" Wang Wei asked calmly. "I feel the same, but here I am," the Heart Devil sighed. Wang Wei looked at him before ignoring him. He continued walking, trying to catch the idea that eluded him. "Don't be like this," the Heart Devil said. "Since I'm here, I must do my job." "No one is stopping you," Wang Wei replied calmly. The Heart Devil walked side by side with him. "There is no point in attacking your character since you seem content with who you are, both the good and all the bad." Wang Wei said nothing. "Maybe start with your relationship," it continued. "You consider many of your peers a friend, but you have no hesitation manipulating them or hurting their factions. I guess you probably wouldn't hesitate to kill them if they get in your way. That's how friendships in the cultivation world are," Wang Wei said calmly. "Factions are placed above everything, including interpersonal relationships." "That's true," the Heart Devil nodded. "Let's take your ancestor, for example. Although she has a great relationship with Wu Hong, she would not hesitate to cut her down if it meant protecting the Dao opening sect." Wang Wei did not take the obvious bait of trying to get him riled up. He simply nodded. "But shouldn't you know better?" The Heart Devil continued after not eliciting any reaction. "You're not the same as these people. You have knowledge about another civilization with different values. So, shouldn't you be better than them? What can I say? I have been assimilated, Wang Wei shrugged. So, that's it? You just used this weak reasoning to justify who you've become? Who you are. Isn't it normal for me to become like this? Wang Wei responded. If I grew up as a loose cultivator and had to struggle for everything in my life, I may have preserved more of my morality and values from Earth. I might even have tried to change the cultivation world. However, I was born with a golden spoon. The world and system were designed to give me all the best advantages. So, isn't it normal that one of the aspects of my assimilation is that I acquired the values and mortality of the cultivation world? No, 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 you are speaking as if you have no free will, the heart devil countered.